Hello, fellow Gunters out there, and welcome to episode 169 of the F.Reality Podcast. The podcast all about things VR, AR, and just a lot of fun if you're a nerd like me and these other guys. We have an awesome show planned out for all of you. We're going to be talking about the removal of Ripcoil and Marvel Powers United from the Oculus stores, Medal of Honor multiplayer, the new Varjo or whatever pronunciation you need to do with those kind of headsets. We're going to be talking about that and much, much more. But first, let me introduce you to these other guys on your screen and soon to be in your ears. If you're walking around in the Frisian landscape and all of a sudden you see a blonde flash zoom on by, you might wonder, was it a plane? Was it a bird? But no, more than likely it was Nathie. How are you doing?
Yes, I am doing fine. Thank you for the beautiful, beautiful introduction. It's an honor. I think this is the best. No, this is in the top 5. Let's say it like that. Top 5 of introductions ever of this entire show, because it feels like a decade already. This show, like how long has it been? What number is it even? Like, you know, when every time I make the event for this show, like I just see a number, but I just type it. I'm like, okay, let's go.
I had to look it up from the show as well.
Yeah, it's so weird. Yeah, it's so weird. It's like it's been like 2 years, and I think after this month, it's like been like almost like 3 years.
Yeah, 169 episodes.
It's fucking
insane.
It's crazy. And if you watch like the first few episodes or somewhere in the middle, like every time it's so random to watch it back or listen back, because we're talking about stuff that is now or super obvious or something that still we are waiting for.
It's kind of a nice way of like preserving history. Like VR history is like preserved.
That's true, yeah.
You can go back and you'll be like, oh, that's what was going on back then. So that's kind of nice in a way.
Yeah, those are fun.
It's like
fun.
A time capsule.
It's really fun looking back, especially seeing people in their various arrays of facial hair and tonality and backgrounds. Oh, man. Especially if you go as far back as VR Inside, then it gets a bit crazy.
Oh, yeah. That's when I was like in the basement.
Yeah, where you're in the hallway. Where there was like, what was it again? The subscriber button of 10 subs.
10 subscribers, I was so proud of that.
That's
still
how
have
long it has been, you know, since we did this podcast. Mike had 10 subscribers.
Yeah.
That's true. Although I still have it. I'm looking at it right now, although I had to adapt it when I got 10,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
Long time ago.
A lot of, you know, play buttons hang on your wall now, because, you know, if you have to make one every 10 subscribers, that's like a few play buttons a day.
I could build a subscriber house.
Subscriber house. Yeah, no, it's amazing. And I think, like, I don't really get bored of this podcast, because I think, like, when I joined, or when I wanted to do this podcast, I just wanted to talk about VR and do something next to it, you know, next to my own channel, and just kind of talk about just stuff, discuss things, and just kind of be open about it, and just kind of go wild. Because with videos, it's always, you know, you cut something out and you change something, but here it's like you said it and then you're screwed. And I had many times where I messed it up. I just completely like said something that didn't make any sense.
We've all been there. We've all done that.
Or saying something where I'm like, but it does feel good. Like when I say something first, I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I should have said that. But then later on, I do not regret it. So I don't really have many regrets in this show of you know, I'm just honest, and that's it. And I think
it's a nice outlet. Yeah.
Indeed.
It's pretty much all regrets.
Did you manage to play any VR this week, Nathan? Or you just been riding around on your bike?
Also, yeah, a lot. It's very cold, but it's great to ride it. I now have like inbuilt speakers inside my helmet, so I can listen to music as well. It's nice and also a bit, you know, dangerous, because you know, it's like la 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 and singing, and then oh wait, there's a car coming. Oh yeah. You know, but I did play some Population 1 with you, Rowdy, and Zim, and we're soon going to talk about this new event, this winter event. So that's where I'm going to leave it.
Nice.
Cool.
Nice. Next up, if he's not ruling the battlefield in Population 1, or fixing their trailers for that matter, he is supposed to be working on this bloody podcast. It's our resident tech guru, Mike from FReality Oasis. How you doing, dude?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm really good. I've had a nice week. It's been pretty chill, actually. So just been spending some time with the dog and the family, which has been super nice. Getting ready for the winter grind. But my highlight this week was Pistol Whip, the new DLC, 2089. I played it on Sunday last week. I thought it was awesome. I really, really enjoyed it. If you don't know about it, it's a free update to the game. So everyone that's got Pistol Whip gets this update for free, which I think is amazing from Cloudhead Games. I think they've delivered a really nice update there. And for it to be free as well, I think is just awesome. So hats off to those guys.
It's more of like a movie cinematic kind of thing now, right? It's a little
cinematic.
bit different than the original one.
Definitely. So basically, you've got 5 new tracks that are kind of strung together with a story. It's a pretty basic story, but it's an awesome one, especially if you like 80s movies like me, you know, like movies like The Terminator or RoboCop. You'll definitely enjoy the kind of references they put in this DLC from those movies. And each track kind of plays differently, which is nice as well. So the way the track plays goes in line with the story that they're trying to tell. Which is really nice, and you haven't seen that before in Pistol Whip, so I won't spoil anything. You should definitely go and experience it yourself. But I really enjoyed it, and I thought they did a great job with it, so I thought I would highlight that. So Pistol Whip 2089, go get it for free. It's coming to PSVR later on, though, so you can get it now on Oculus and Steam. Not PSVR.
How much content is it, Mike? Is it like an hour, or is it half an hour? Like how much?
About half an hour. Yeah, about half an hour. But it does ramp up in difficulty, so you need to be pretty good at Pistol Whip anyway. If you can play it on sort of normal without any issues, then you should be good. I can't really play Pistol Whip on hard, but I still managed to get through this DLC, and I only died once, I think. So, so as long as you're kind of familiar with the base game, you should be good with this.
Cool. Nice. So what was the other thing that Cloudhead worked on again that Danny first didn't want to, throw out in the world? I think it's now announced, right? I forgot.
You meant the business
on
one.
Twitter a little while. It's like the business kind of work together kind of environment.
Didn't they call it Cloudhead something? I think it was it's almost like a musician coming out with the same named album. I think that the tool was also called like Cloudhead Tool or something like that.
Cloudhead Tool.
I can't remember what it was called. And I should go and check it out, really, because it sounded really interesting when he was teasing it.
I didn't know it was
anyway.
out already.
Yeah, I didn't know it was out. I thought it was just teased.
That it was teased.
Maybe it was just teased, yeah.
You can also invite him again to talk about that, because
he was such a great guest. He was such a great guest.
He was a wonderful guest.
Love him.
Yeah.
I'm looking at if I can see it, if I can quickly see what the name of it was. But I remember seeing a screenshot. What Cloudhead? What?
Cloudhead Social Club.
That's not what it's called, Nathan.
That's not how it's called.
You're just making stuff up now.
It's a good name.
That's straight from Grand Theft Auto. You've just been playing too much.
Oh yeah, you're right.
That's it.
Shoot. Yeah.
It's Cloudhead all-day collaboration tool, but I don't think that's how it's called either. Cloudhead Labs all-day collaboration tool.
No, we made fools out of ourselves, so we should invite him over.
On.
And
who brought this up?
Yeah, sorry.
Well done, Nathan. Yeah, let's talk about something we all know nothing about. Carry.
We do that every week.
That was my plan.
We do. We make up a lot of stuff as we go along. Not even going to lie.
What are these airheads even, people are listening on, what are these airheads even trying?
Yeah.
All right, well, anyway, last but not least, if it's not him going crazy in VR, it's his freaking dad. It clearly runs in the family for this guy. He's got the mojo, he's got the jive. It's Simtok5.
Oh, nice intro, dude. Nice intro.
He's fucking good at these. He's really good at these. I love it. And it's funny because when it comes out of someone else's brain, I got to say, I haven't been in that seat before for host. Trying to make that sweet poetry, that's not easy. That takes, out of everything you do in the show, those 3 intros, it's
the hardest with Nathy because nothing rhymes with it. I had to use likely with Nathy. Jesus Christ. Anyway.
One day you're going to be a rap artist. We don't have a rap app yet for VR, do we? So we'll have to get on that. Good week. You've heard my story. I don't know if Mike has. So
I did watch the video, but please tell it again.
I will tell it again. I
loved your daughter's reaction. Her face was just priceless. And well done for putting her in the thumbnail, by the way. She looked brilliant.
You're welcome. So for those who don't know, I've converted my dad to VR successfully. He's got a Quest 2, and he's bought the Pro Straps and stuff like this, and it's crazy. So we decided we would play some Racket NX, because my dad was he's like a retired tennis player, big into that, and racquetball. He used to, win championships and stuff. He used to literally play tennis 28 days of the month. Like, that's how much tennis he would play. So much he was like screwing his knees up and stuff. Loves that stuff. Loves even the ping pong. So I actually started him off in VR on the various ping pong apps, and that was great. And then we played Racket NX, which is like a 360. You're in a dome area and you're hitting balls to energy. It's quite a fast-paced, like full 360 game. You don't want to be seated for it. And so that's what I told my dad. I said, Dad, you don't want to sit down. He's like, I'm going to sit down. I'm like, no, get up, get into a room. And then we're playing, and all of a sudden we hear a thwack in the middle of a co-op game that we're playing from one of the recent updates from one Hamza, the studio behind Racket NX. And he's like, oh, I hit it. I'm like, because he punched the fridge before when we were playing ping pong, and that wasn't such a big deal. And he's like, oh, there's blood on the floor. I'm like, uh-oh, this isn't good. And then we got on video, and he was showing me, and he had this, like, he'd hit, basically, we have a sliding conservatory door in my parents' house, and a large, like, metal beam, and he'd whacked his finger into that and he'd gashed open his forefinger, right open. It was like an inch and a half long, and it like the kind where it's open enough. When he said to me, he's like, Brad, I'm probably gonna need stitches. And I was like, shit, Dad. And I got to say, the One Hamza team were like, good on your dad. They're calling these the something sacrifices, the people who bludgeon themselves in the middle of the game. But he's certainly not the first and won't be the last. So like Gorn, it's taken a toll. He split that open, and then I can tell you in the morning I got a very unhappy message from my mother. Because my dad's been VRing a bit too heavy. But to be fair to him, even after doing that and cleaning himself up and putting one of those butterfly bandages on it to hold it together, he VR'd for another hour. So good on you, Dad.
What a trooper.
Absolutely.
Or no?
Absolutely legend.
It's just a flesh wound.
Yeah,
Carry on.
To be honest, I think he probably should have gotten stitches seeing the wound, but I think he's also the kind of guy who's like, he's going to brush it off and just, go with the bandage and take the scar.
Give this man some Oculus credits, man. Seriously.
What a lad.
So if any devs, I was gonna say, if any devs have a multiplayer game you want us to play and you want to key me up, go ahead. Thank you to the One Hamza guys, because they had done that, and I was just so happy. Like, Racket NX is great, and the thing is, if you put a proper racket sport person in it, they're gonna go full hog. And my dad loves his backhand, so he just went full flog.
Finally, someone who understands what room skill is really all about.
Exactly. So that is absolutely my highlight. That and the fact that now he's convinced he needs a VR PC as well. So I don't understand. I don't understand. My dad is one of those most like cynical anti-tech people. He's obviously fallen down the rabbit hole of VR. So
it's
I
so
love
weird
that.
you say that though, because like my dad's the same. Like he bought a Quest 2 recently because obviously I gifted my brother one, and then like he wanted to jump in as well. And we've been using it to like catch up socially, which has been really nice. Yeah. But I asked him like, what else have you been playing? And then he said, oh yeah, I've been playing In Death. I really like it. I've got to the first boss, and I was like, what the heck? Like what is happening here? Like he's never been a gamer, never in his life. He's playing In Death. Yeah. It's insane.
That's amazing. So, give your dad props from Zim. That's amazing. Yeah, Death is great. And they just did a 90 hertz update, which I've checked out. It is so slick in Quest 2. So if you haven't tried In Death 90 hertz, you got to do it. But anyway, that was definitely my highlight. Good on you, Dad. Props for continuing to VR. And we'll make him a gamer eventually, maybe.
Yeah, right. Thanks for sharing that, Zim. What about the chat? What have they been up to this past week?
Yeah, so we have Newbie Gaines, best name ever, who played Star Wars. I think he just said, I played Star Wars. I don't know what that means. I think he's talking about the new one, I guess.
Yeah,
must be the new one.
Galaxy's Edge.
Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, Galaxy. Like it's weird. Like I already forgot about the name for some reason. Like
the whole game's kind of forgettable.
That's right. He also played a Pop 1's Winter Event and Saints and Sinners, all on Quest 2. If you would say this like 2 years ago, people would be like, "What?
Yeah.
How is this possible?" Then we have Rush Reality, who says that he has been playing a lot of Contractors, and it actually got him playing more than Population 1 this week. And he actually prefers the Quest version to the PC version for some reason.
I can see why.
Yeah. Why? Because of cables?
I'll go into it later.
Oh, okay.
Keep you in suspense for now.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. And then we have Pete, who has been playing Catan VR. Has anyone ever tried that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have.
On Go?
I did. I didn't
was on the
understand
Go,
the
yeah.
game, but I also don't understand it in real life. So
That's a fucking that is one of the most difficult board games to understand. Like it's like, what am I doing? It's just it. But once you get it, I played with some guy in fucking. He was like in Kazakhstan or something, like at a military base. I'm like, hey dude, where are you in the world? And he's like, Kazakhstan. He was like, I'm just in between. Oh, I'm shipping out in like 3 hours. I'm like, fuck.
Wow.
It was just, but I love that.
Finish the game.
When did you finish the game? The guy got blown up.
Playing Catan from Area 52.
Oh.
And then he also played Marvel Powers United before it shuts down. A Golf Club VR. If you want to play a beautiful, beautiful golf, I just have to say it. I'm sorry.
Wait.
It's Walkabout Mini Golf.
What is Golf
You're
Club
right.
VR? Is that
Golf
is that
Club
a game?
VR is. Wait, did he
Is that
say
the more realistic one?
Isn't he talking about Gun Club?
Must be Gun
Golf
Club.
He said Golf Club VR.
Golf Club VR.
Well, anyways, if Golf Club VR doesn't exist, and that's probably true, then go check out Walkabout Mini Golf.
Yeah.
And then he also played, or he bought Population 1. I don't think he played it yet. And he has also been jumping into Asgard's Wrath because it's free. And again, there was also something going on with the name of Asgard's Wrath. So I think we're right about that. Golf Club VR doesn't exist. Although it's a good name.
It's important to reiterate because I think I'm still finding people who don't know that the original offering for Asgard's Wrath was not inclusive of people who were a day one purchaser for Quest 2. It now is inclusive.
That's
so
true.
go get your free game. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so according to the chat, Golf Club VR does exist. So we are just not golfers, basically.
Another thing we know nothing
You're
about.
only a walkabout mini golfer.
What platform
true.
is that on? Like I know the
I
PSVR
think
one.
it's I thought they were talking about the PlayStation VR one.
No, it must be what platform?
But that's
guys?
everybody's golf. That's everybody's golf VR.
Too many golf games.
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. All right, that was it.
Yeah.
What about you then, Maddie?
Yeah, me. I've actually I've been playing some VR this week. I've actually dove into some more Population 1 with a few of the fellas here on the podcast as well. But my highlight of the week was actually finishing reading up on Ready Player 2. So I finished the book in the past.
Wow.
I started reading it a couple of days ago, and I just powered through it just to get it done.
Wow.
And I wanted to give my impressions of it just in general. Yeah. I think it's an okay book. Like I think that the review was maybe a little bit too harsh in regards to. I mean, I haven't read the first book, so that's maybe something I should note as well. So I've only seen the movie, so I kind of know what is going on.
What review are you referring to? Or are you just saying reviews in general are harsh?
The review in general, but also the review that I highlighted last time, where they said it's basically like it's a copy of the first book and it's not well written and this and that. There are parts of it that I think are not well written. Like, for example, the first about like 100 pages, I think, feel a little bit unnecessary. Like, not a lot happens there, I think. It's more like setting the scene, which I know is important. But since it's a follow-up on the book, you kind of already know what is going on. And then I did find the quest quite interesting. Yeah, because you have this quest that he goes into, just unlike the first book. I found the quest quite interesting, but I felt like it was rushed towards the end. So the first few quests, the first few missions are very detailed, very like even to the extreme. But then it kind of goes into, because I feel like it needs to like he wanted to like finish it sooner, or it had to be done out or whatever. But it feels like the especially the last 3 quests, they go like really quickly. There's also like some time inconsistencies throughout the book that I think are not correct, just in terms of setting. And some of the descriptions are really weird. But I did enjoy my time with the book. Like, I think that's still the most important thing. I found it a fairly interesting story. It's not the best book that I've written ever, by far. But it's an interesting read. An interesting ending. I also think that is important. I think that the ending is also quite interesting. Not going to spoil it, of course. But have you already managed to finish it, Mike? Because you're doing the audio version, right?
Yeah, I'm still kind of plodding through it, really. Like, when I go out for a walk or something like that, I pop it on for like an hour. So I'm really sort of taking my time with it. But yeah, I thought it was a little bit of a bit of a slow burn in the beginning,
I think you're. Of course, I read through it, and I'm a fairly fast reader, so I can skim through it. But of course, if you're doing the audio version, that's probably the first 8 hours or something, and nothing happens.
Yeah.
How would you score it? Like I always get stuck on scores, but like if out of 10, for example, like would you so far?
I would say around a 5.
Okay,
Around
so it's kind of like 10. It's okay. It was worth your time.
It's passable.
But yeah, okay.
It's passable. It probably doesn't live up to the first book, I would say, because the first book is new. This is nothing here is really new. It's just like a continuation of the events. There are some interesting, even like the plot twists are very predictable. Like if anything like happens, you kind of see it coming already a long way ahead of it. So I don't really find it that special.
It would be interesting for you to go back and read the first book now, I think, and just see how you compare it.
Yeah, sure.
Oh wait, Rowdy,
I don't know if I'm gonna do that.
You didn't read the first book.
I didn't read the first book.
Oh,
no.
okay.
I only read the second book, watched the first movie, and then I read the second book. It is. I also have to say, like, it's not my style of books that I kind of read. I do like the sci-fi genre, but I'm not into. I had the feeling that I missed out on a lot of the nostalgia. There is this one thing also about like The Breakfast Club. I've never watched that, never seen that. It's like, just for me, I'm reading through that about certain directors of certain movies. Didn't understand that. There's a part of Lord of the Rings in there, and I consider myself to be a Lord of the Rings fan. Didn't get any of that what was going on there. So
really, it's a book for the super nerds then.
It's for the uber nerds, I would say. Even it's like the step above that. But I mean, I'm not gonna say it's a bad book. It's okay.
Is it maybe written to become a movie where it's more hinting to
I had that feeling.
Hey,
I had that feeling.
This needs to be a Hollywood blockbuster, and let's make some more.
Because I had the feeling when I was reading it, I was like, oh, I wonder how that would look like on the movie screen. I wonder how they would do that on a movie screen. And with other parts, I was like, yeah, I don't think they're gonna include that into a movie. But I did feel I was reading more of a movie script than like the. And also, the thing that just didn't make sense to me is like, the year is like 2050 or something like that. I don't know the exact year anymore, but it's like in the future. But it's like time has stopped in like 1985 or 1995 or whatever. And there's nothing else that happened after that, Yeah. And that kind of, I know that frustrated me to a certain extent. It's like, so for the past 40 years, nobody has done anything that is remarkable to be, noted at least in the book. But of course that's the style again. I get that. I shouldn't criticize that. But that's just this personal opinion.
Yeah. Chat seems to be saying, a lot of people are saying it's very middle of the road in terms of their impressions with it, and that it is gauged to like an older audience as well, and that if you are younger and you pick this book up, you're 20 years old or whatever, you're not going to necessarily get the references.
It's also hard.
Oh no, you definitely won't. Because I didn't even get that. I'm way older than that. Like.
No, it's hard to top like Ready Player One in that sense. I think a lot of stuff that you watch or read, it's hard to make it better after the first one. It's like super hard.
Yeah. All right, then let's jump a little bit in the news. First up, we have the Population 1 event. This is a new event that is held for the winter season, and it's called 12 Days of Chaos. They have new in-game bonuses as well as a winter-themed setting. And in this event, you're supposed to collect snowflakes like Sim and boost points to gain rewards. Of course, this also comes paired with some more holiday skins that you can purchase as well. Now, I'm gonna hand it over directly to Sim because he's had the most experience collecting these kind of snowflakes throughout the event. So,
To be fair, I did say the word snowflake about 170 times the last time we played. So the winter event is really interesting because they basically are baiting you on a hamster wheel to go and run through. This is different to the last time. So now you get these points. I forget what they call them, but you're getting points every round. It's a bit different than the hay bales in the last expansion we got with like what was that called? Cores. Not the energy cores. No, the subsequent update.
The Halloween
update basically is what I'm talking about.
Oh.
So So in the Halloween update, you at the end of a match, it would like rally up almost again like Mike mentioned casino machines. It would like ratchet up how many points you had at the end of the match. It would tally it up. You get some points, and then it would kind of push you up in the tiers, and you'd see how many points you had against friends and all of that. And so I liked that. I found that quite satisfying. This one is a lot more grindy. So this is the winter grind essentially, and you only have it's a limited time period. I think how many days is it, Rowdy? Do you know? It's like
12 days.
12 days. Yeah, 12 days. 12 days of Christmas basically, and so there's like 9 or 8 days left, and you have this run for which you would need to be playing. I approximate about an hour and a half to 2 hours of Pop 1, like every day to 2 days. Like every second day you could play for maybe 3 hours and do the kind of hop, skip, jump. But if you want to get all the way to the end, which is this, as in our thumbnail, this lovely like Christmas jumper Roy skin, and all the guns that run up to that point, you really are going to have to put probably 6 solid days out of the 12 into it. Which is it's heavy going, to be honest, and it's a lot to ask, especially in a week when we've got contractors and Solaris and all these other things that are demanding of an FPS player's time.
But it's for the kids. The kids.
I get it, but I still feel like I've always felt with achievements, like it's annoying if you design your achievement system to be unsatisfactory. You know what I mean? It's great if you have to work hard for something. But I felt like last time it was more balanced. This time it's like it's gonna be a slog. But they help it with one feature, which I like, which is the fact that if you've got a friend in the game, so 2 out of 3, you get a 1.5x multiplier on your points. And then if you get a third person, you get a 2x multiplier. So that helps you out. And that's almost, in my opinion, mandatory. And then the other thing that helps you out is these wonderful snowflakes. Now, the snowflakes are feckin' everywhere. There's more snowflakes than bananas in the game now. There's literally snowflakes all over the feckin' shop, and they seem to spawn in the same spot.
I dare you, say it one more time.
Oh, Rowdy. I will, but I'll wait in the cold, cold cabin. And then one time when you're not expecting it, you'll hear it. And it'll just creep up your spine. But yeah, so far, it was fun. It was fun playing with the boys.
I'm just gonna say it. This event, the snowflake part, as you said, XP thing, I think it's great. I think a lot of games use that. It's amazing, very smart, because then you invite your friends even more to come play because you're like, I need to be in a squad. And it also kind of attracts more people to really start socializing, so you get more team-based, rounds. But the snowflakes part, I find this event so annoying because it kills the gameplay. It's because if I play with you guys, it would like, listen, let's just play the game, okay? Let's just have fun, done. Because as you said, the snowflakes are freaking everywhere, that you're just following this trail and you're like, oh, there's another one, here's another one, blah, 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 blah. So there's so many that it's more about the snowflakes than really playing the actual
It is
game.
Interruptive. It's actually like the power cores when they were damaging the game. I agree with you.
So it's almost like you have to tell your friends, listen, let's just play the game. And if you want to collect them, do it another time. But let's just kind of, get to the point where we want to win. Well, now, just like the energy core thing, it's like some people are just, let's just, if I can at least pick up 20 and I die, fine. Then I just start a new match. So if you're with strangers, it's even worse because now you have people who are just hunting for that stuff.
I've seen that. I play a lot with strangers, and they tend to go off in different directions. The other thing I was going to say is that I forgot to mention there's a daily cap of 1,500. It's either 15,000 or 1,500 points. Yeah, you're right. And so the thing design-wise that I wish they would have done, so like the cores, which was also damaging the core gameplay, I wish it was more achievable. Like, it shouldn't take me an hour and a half of chewing through snowflakes and wins for a pretty capable team to hit my daily limit. Like, they should have brought that bar down so like in half an hour I can clear my tasks and then we can go back to playing the game normally.
I still think it would be far better for the game if they would say something. They would lower the standards for getting through the tires or getting through the rewards. But you only get the reward if you A, win the game, or B, end second. I think something like that would be far, because then if you just go in the game to collect snowflakes and you don't win, you still don't get it.
Yeah, it's just grinding. Yeah, what you're saying is you're just rewarding everybody without them actually earning it.
But you could just see, and that's what I've seen so far, is that they have more priority towards letting people stay in the game, but it's not about necessarily that the gameplay then needs to be good, and it's more about, get the snowflakes, get more skins, buy more,
but the theory behind that is, of course, if you don't like it, just buy the skins.
Yep.
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah, like
that's kind of like the trick. Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah,
That is the trick. And for now, it's still fine because they're not kind of forcing you to the limit. But there will be a moment, and I'm gonna call it right now, and it's gonna happen. Is that they will have season rankings. It's like a season pass you buy, and then you can get more rewards. It's like when I play Rocket League, I can level up like everyone else, but I don't. Like every level, I don't get necessarily a reward, or when I do get one, it's not very special. But if you pay for the season pass, then you get something every time. You also get XP boosters to level even faster, and they keep you hooked that way.
This is one of the reasons why I don't know, people were calling me out in the chat back then or in the comments that it's just microtransactions. It's not damaging the core game. But the entire concept of a microtransactions, even if they are free like these are, and you can just grind through it, they often damage core gameplay. And I think that this is showing it again. Like if you introduce these kind of concepts into the game, a certain player base or a certain amount of people will only care about that kind of stuff because it's rewarding. It's a form of gambling. It's a form of it doesn't contribute to the actual game, and I think that is not a good thing to do.
But the reward loop for the player isn't what I'm concerned about. It's the reward loop for the developer who introduces this into their game, and the amount of cash they're going to be making off of this. I can tell you, even from the people I bumped into, they are chinging it right now on those skins. Already people are throwing loads of money into this. And they're not it's very, very difficult once you enter into that spiral to ignore the money line. Especially the bigger you get.
It will damage the core gameplay because this will get prioritized from now on.
Yep.
For instead of like improving the actual game, instead of providing a new map, it's skin first and a new map.
Which is why we should continue to take hats off for the 2089 update to Pistol Whip, right?
Oh yeah.
Free content update. Good job, lads.
I do admire what they're doing though, because they are doing something pretty unique in the VR space, and I think the amount of like events already that we've seen in the game has only been out like a couple of months, like is pretty incredible really. And for me, the game is super addictive and I do keep playing it. It's the one game that I keep going back to, not only because the gameplay's fun though, because it's also serving as my social hub right now. Like this is how I catch up with my brother, this is how I catch up with my friend. We play some Pop 1 together. The snowflakes aren't really bothering me that much. It's more the server issues that are bothering me right now. Just recently, I don't know what it is, but like I haven't been able to get into any of the EU servers like anymore. I'm consistently getting like between 100 and 200 millisecond ping, which, is not necessarily bad, but like in a competitive game, that is pretty bad.
You notice it.
Yeah, you definitely notice it, and it's like it's the difference of a win or lose when you get into that crunch situation and you see another player and they see you. If they're going to be in the US, like getting like 30-40 millisecond ping, it's that split second that's going to get them the drop on you that is frustrating as a competitive player. So I think that bothers me more than anything else, and I think I wish they just, at the beginning of the game when it boots up, you get to choose your region. I think that would be smarter. So like, okay, I'm in the EU, I want to play on EU servers, I don't want to play with any US people, that's how I want to play. That would make the game even more enjoyable for me with like all this event stuff, aside.
We just got an update. YouTube has just said that our US followers are dropping off. They're dropping off the cliff. Oh God, Mike, take it back. Take it back.
For me, this update, and the more they try hard with skins and with like XP loops or point loops, the less I'm interested in playing it. And of course, it's also a generation gap because youngsters who now grow up with video games, it's standard, it's normal, it's just mandatory to even buy a skin because otherwise you're not cool enough on the at school. But for me it's like I just want like the more bells and whistles they add it's just not my jam. But I did find a new spot to play this game in, and it is the kitchen. So I'm now playing it in the kitchen, so I can constantly open my fridge. And,
it's amazing.
It's like the best place ever. So I'm now, when I play Population 1, it's in my kitchen.
Lads, ladies, wait.
In between rounds.
Snack all the time.
Just take a look at Nathy's lovely face, right? It's going to get a bit fatter by January, I promise.
Yeah.
I warned him about this. I'm like, you play in your kitchen, dude. This is why I don't have a beer fridge in my room, in my office here, because if I did, like, I'd have a pot belly in a minute.
Yeah. No, I think overall what they did is fine.
Yeah,
I just
appreciate the
hope they're
updates.
gonna also focus a bit more on the gameplay, focus more on the actual core instead of adding skins and stuff.
Do you think they're going to keep it up, though? This pipeline is
stabilizing.
This is a very aggressive pipeline.
Balancing weapons.
Yeah,
They have to be aggressive.
Instead of snowflakes in Easter, it's going to be eggs, you know.
Yeah, but they like Zim, they
again.
have to be aggressive because, like, even that you think, like, for personally, I think what we see right now is Population 1 has a strong player base. But if you look at the history of VR, it can also quickly just
evaporate. Yeah,
drop
so
off.
they have to be on top of it now. Because if someone else makes a multiplayer next year that is not necessarily Battle Royale, but is also fun to play, like players are constantly looking for something new.
So these modifiers, though, like, do you think that, like, you buy into a game, right? They're essentially doing modifiers that you don't get to choose. They just happen to the world, kind of like in a World of Warcraft or something like that.
Fortnite do it all the time. Right?
And I'm just wondering, like, I mean, I don't necessarily remember seeing that advertised. Do you think it, like, was that part of, I don't remember seeing that part of the media where it's like the game you're buying is going to mutate. You know what I mean? Like, it does have an effect because it changes how the game actually functions.
What do you mean by modifiers?
So these
the events.
Yeah, these events. Yeah. It's like a coat of paint that gets splashed over the game. You don't get to choose. Well, you don't get to choose. Like the Power Core one, for instance. I think that was pissing Rowdy off, right, when that dropped, because it's like it changes the way people interact with the game.
It's welcome, but in the end, it's a disguise for making even more money.
But the point I'm saying is it's not optional, right? It's not an optional modifier. The core game you bought,
but no event is optional in a video game. You can't click it off and be like.
Without them, I think the game would just become bit boring.
Too samey.
It's keeping it fresh, and I think.
Are you expecting then that every 2 weeks we're going to get a new event from Big Box?
Maybe not, like after Christmas. Maybe they might tone it down a little bit, but certainly other refinements to the gameplay I'd like to see over more events. Maybe a new weapon.
That's the thing. What I like. There are other ways to keep it fresh as well.
Yeah.
Like, for example, introducing new maps, introducing new weapons. Making new DLCs that are more interesting, different game modes. There's so many more things that it can do than just make an event where it looks different.
That's what I'd like to know.
It's nice with the winter stuff, like I get that, and with Halloween I get that. Yeah. But every 2 weeks a new event, just like a spray paint, I wouldn't care about that at all.
So we got a good question in the chat from Jonas Hess. He says, which headset are you using for Population 1? And I think this is a really interesting question, right?
That is a good question.
Because, of course, we all have access to high-end PCs and high-end PC VR hardware.
Yep.
But I would put my money on the fact that we're all playing on Quest 2, right?
Yeah. It's just the ease of access again. Picking it up, pushing a button, being in the game.
More recently, I've been playing Quest 2 through Virtual Desktop to PC because it does look a lot nicer, and with the recent updates, it's indistinguishable in terms of its performance. So I like that, but the thing is, if you're going to meet people, like, again, say Rowdy and Nathan and I want to get together at 6 o'clock, the Quest is so easy on. You load into the game, you're in 30 seconds. If you're worried about being late or whatever to meet your buddies, you're just going to grab the Quest 2 and go. That's it.
Yeah, no, I think that's it. It's like the preparation time where I need to go upstairs, need to turn this on. Like, honestly, I don't really care about graphics. I don't care about the resolution of a headset. And also audio-wise, I don't really care. I mean, I just use the inbuilt things, and I mean, they're not the best, but
whenever I put a PC VR headset on, it's always like, I put the headset on, I can't hear you, your microphone's not working, I have to go into audio settings, now I have to change my... It's always a pain in the ass with audio. I don't know what it is on PC, but it's always a pain in the ass.
It's Discord's fault, every time you hook up a new audio source, like, do you want to change your audio source?
Yeah. But it's also the platform's fault. I think, like, if Steam VR would be a little bit smarter in terms of hooking up a headset to your PC, and same with Oculus. Well, if the Oculus PC platform still exists next year in the way it is now, then there are ways to improve it. But you can PC VR is kind of falling behind, sadly.
Indeed.
I think that's interesting. We're all mostly playing on.
No, you're right. It's weird. We have all this stuff, like Valve Index, G2s, whatever. It's like the heavy guns, and no one cares.
Yeah.
Thank you, Carmack, for convincing Oculus to go to a mobile platform. Thank you, Oculus Go and Samsung Gear VR. You paved the way.
However, talking about future of games, there's also a little bit less good news for at least some multiplayer titles. This week was announced that Marvel Pirates United, Ripcoil, and VR Sports Challenge will no longer be available for purchase or for download. However, Oculus says that current owners can continue to play up until March 1st, 2021. Now, if you don't know which games these are, so Ripcore was one of the first VR games that came from Sanzuru Games. And it arrived together with VR Sports Challenge back in 2016. It's kind of like a future version of Pong, from a first-person perspective. However, just like Marvel Powers United, it's kind of suffered from a little bit of a dead user base, and I think that is also the reason why it's getting booted. Now, if you purchased any of those games, it's important to note that those refunds are not automatic. So users need to reach out to Oculus customer support to specifically request a refund for those games. And Facebook has since also clarified that those refunds are only available to customers who have purchased within 6 months of the refund request.
Yep.
So wait, sorry, that's 6 months of today's date. So
when you
back
make
to
the
July.
request, 6 months back.
6 months back.
This is so bizarre.
So if you bought the game in the last 6 months, you're entitled to a refund. If you bought it on release, like everyone did, then you're not.
Recoil
I'm sure that
was
people
weird.
are not playing those games after 6 months anymore.
No, of course they're not. Of course they're not. But I think the biggest takeaway here is like Marvel Powers United was one of the most expensive games on the Rift platform when it released. It was like £50.
Yeah.
So it's an expensive investment.
Yeah,
for sure.
I appreciate the game was mediocre at best, and it
was a glorified wave shooter with a superhero genre.
It was like I really some things I really liked about that game. Like it was social and you could play it with a friend. So like me and Nathan played the whole thing co-op together. We played like 30 hours of it together. I really liked it. Well, more on that later. We could play as your favorite characters. I loved playing as Rocket Raccoon. He was like smaller than all the other characters.
Very detailed first-person character.
Yeah.
You were really the hero.
You could look down and see Rocket's full body. It was awesome. I really liked that you could unlock items. So like if you completed certain missions, you unlock boxes which unlocked items from the Marvel Universe that you could store in a little collector's room. And then, like Nathan and I, like I said, we played it for so long, we actually got to the final boss, Thanos, and beat him. And that was like a monumental achievement because we played it so much. But like, and it was fun to play together, but the core gameplay itself was super repetitive, super basic, super simple. And that was the problem with the game. So like, a bit like we've talked about like earlier with Population 1, like this drop off, it had like this spike in user base at the beginning, almost instantly fell off because it didn't have that replay value of coming back again for more.
Yes. Yeah.
So although I appreciate people are upset because the game's being turned off, essentially the whole game's online anyway, so you can't really play it single player.
I mean, you could also play it offline with bots, so there's no real excuse to not make it.
They're saying that the bots are tied to the online servers as well, so they would have to recode the game to do it completely offline. That's what I read on the subreddit anyway. But yeah, I just think it's a shame that you've invested money into a game and then it just gets pulled underneath you. But then again, if you look at the numbers, because obviously Sanzuru were acquired by Facebook recently, they're probably saying, well, let's have a look at the daily users of like these 3 games. I could probably guess that you could count them like with your fingers and toes. And they were thinking, well, we're paying how much money for a server, here and here to keep these games online. It's just not worth the money. No one's going to miss these games, so let's pull it. But of course, it sparks this discussion online.
I think it's not that. It's or the license expired of this game, because it was apparently, if you look at the game, Marvel Powers United, it was a live service game apparently in a way, and not a single player.
Why are they putting on Ripcoil and Sports Challenge? Because they're putting 3 of them, huh?
Well, the thing is, what I'm trying to say is that I think they're just wiping out certain parts of their PC VR platform, because this is very old stuff. And you also need to know that Marvel Powers United was made to be bundled with the Oculus Rift CV1. When you bought a Rift, you got Marvel Powers United for free. They also showed it at Gamescom at E3. They wanted people to try this game. And when people bought it, they would be able to instantly play this game and socialize with others. It was like this hub for people to have their first VR experience. And that's why the gameplay was very arcadey in that sense.
It is.
So it served a purpose. This game served a purpose that, of course, now is not relevant anymore. So I think that's also one of the reasons why they're not, going to support it anymore. But what it shows to me is that they take it out, they take Ripcoil out, and maybe even some others in the future, and they're not investing back in the ecosystem of the PC VR scene. So it's like they take it out, a huge chunk, because I think Marvel Power United was like a huge title back then when it came out, but they're not showing any we just take it out. But what is our plan with PC VR? We are going to add this now. They don't do that. They just said, we're gonna, delete this game.
They do have Medal of Honor. We should mention, which we're going to talk about later.
Medal of Honor has been in development for years, so that's not an excuse.
But so I looked into because a lot of people were angry, of course, that it got booted out and they paid money and they want a refund. But I actually looked up what are the how common is this? And it happens actually quite a bit, that this happens. And you don't actually own the game, you own a license to the game. So the developers can still, if they don't need to give refunds at all, even for those 6 months. Even if you bought it yesterday, they can actually just say, okay, the game is gone and you bought a license for it. And that's it. Yeah, okay.
It's the same with Steam. This is the scariest thing. Since we digitized with Steam, a lot of people
it happens with Xbox, it happens with the PlayStation Store, all of them.
But I mean, if you have a Steam library worth, 2,000-3,000, right? They could, unfortunately, overnight, that could evaporate.
Yeah, but look at Anthem, for example. I don't know what's going on with that game now, but for example, it didn't perform as well as they expected, so they could just pull the servers on that and just say, well, it's not cost effective anymore. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's exactly what they've done with this game. I don't think it was a licensing issues. I think I
don't think that's the problem. It's just that I've seen a lot of people saying listen, you take something out, but you're not giving any updates on PC VR, and this makes it look even worse than it already did in terms of, hey, what are we gonna do? If you're buying a Rift S right now, you're crazy. You're freaking crazy, because they're not gonna do anything with it.
I don't know. You're not buying a Rift S anymore,
No.
And
no, but the thing is, there is now the Oculus Quest 2, and it's a standalone and it's a PC VR system, but they're not investing into the PC VR ecosystem. So it's more a standalone headset than a PC VR headset. You know what I mean? So
of course that's their priority, though. Of course that's going to be their priority, because that's where the user base is.
And Medal of Honor is not an excuse. Medal of Honor has been in development for so long, and it's just Medal of Honor,
And also, as we know,
all the games they could pick, they went for Medal of Honor.
Medal of Honor, we know they're going to try and push it to the Quest as well.
Yeah. Of course.
And this is something that I said in my State of VR update, this week, is that, it does worry me about the state of PC VR from the Oculus side anyway, at least, because like you say, if the user base is always going to be on Quest and the numbers, are 50x what they are on PC, why would they invest in that platform anymore? And maybe Medal of Honor will be one of the last big PC VR games from them, but who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But I've said this before as well, that we almost need to go backwards to go forwards. Once we've got this kind of standalone market established and people are craving, higher fidelity games and bigger and more in-depth gameplay, then maybe we'll go full circle again and PC will be relevant again. But right now it certainly feels like it's not.
That's a great point you bring up there. I also don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, for the moment at least, to wait out the PC VR market, because you have such much bigger numbers on the Quest, and maybe when VR grows up to a certain platform, maybe I'm 100% sure of that, when VR gets to a level that it's really driving consumers into that I'm 100% sure that another player will step up and start investing into that Steam VR or that PC VR market, like Valve is, for example, and that might actually be beneficial then, because then, let's be honest, not everyone is the biggest fan of the entire Facebook thing. So maybe if some other player could step into that PC VR market, we could actually get a new player in there once the market has grown a bit.
Yeah, but the new player is not going to jump into the PC VR market. It's going to jump into the standalone market, because the Quest 2 showed that the PC VR scene is unnecessary.
I don't agree with that, because to go into the standalone market, you need to have the software and the game developing studios, and the hardware as well. Yeah, so that's what Oculus all has in their hands. But if you look at the Steam VR market or the PC VR market, that's mainly an open market with based on Steam VR. So when I say a new player, I don't mean like a player comes out of nowhere. I'm talking about a player who's already done a lot in VR, of course, or a player that has done already a lot in Steam. Like someone like Valve could eventually step up and take the huge chunk of that market just by being the main investor into the PC VR market. And I would welcome that.
It's interesting because I think my opinion here differs from all of you, I think. For me, I look at 2020 in hindsight and I go, like, the hit that we took, that economies for not just game studios, platform owners, like, everyone's taking a hit. So for a maintenance service cut, I think cuts are absolutely a necessity. I think that because of the way that 2020 has turned out, I actually think we're going to see a lot more of this in 2021. You're going to see studios close their doors. You're going to see services like this going offline. These ones, I'm totally nonplussed about, just because of my personal tie to those games. But in terms of PC VR being alive in the Rift S, I actually think that from a value perspective, Rift S right now, because of its price suppression because of the news, is a really good value headset for now and for the next 6 months. You can probably pick up for like 200 quid a Rift S, which is in near perfect condition used, and use that for 6 months and have it be your daily driver. No problem. You don't have to have a Quest 2 if you're a PC VR person. So, and there are still some pretty solid titles that are landing. We don't know when Lone Echo 2 is going to come out, for example.
But I think the issue is more with like the future of like which PC VR titles is going to come out next after Medal of Honor VR.
This is difficult, but someone's going to go for it because there still are PC VR players. You know, it's not a huge market, and I agree with what Nathan's saying on the viability of how much money you can make in standalone. Look at the mobile gaming market. Who's going to convert, the mobile gaming market into the next thing? I think, honestly, that mobile gaming is going to convert into standalone VR gaming, a lot of it. Whereas the PC market is probably going to be a bit stale, flat, maybe even suppressed.
That's the same as what happened with the actual gaming market. The gaming market was really flat as well, and then we saw like the consoles coming with Xbox and PlayStation. And when that took that huge jump and started growing again, what was the consequence of that? That the PC gaming market started growing again as well. So I do think that we will eventually see something similar with the VR market, that we now have that huge boost from the standalone. But that will eventually also trickle down to that PC VR market.
It will in some way, but first there needs to be a standalone like warfare between some companies, and then maybe PC VR will. But right now, the Quest 2 became a console in a way. It's like a handheld VR device, and PC VR is not able to compete with that. So first we need to have, as you said, like different companies making standalone headsets, and then we'll see. It's just what I'm trying to say is that's just my opinion, because like, as I said, I'm not so hopeful about next year of what's going to come out from Facebook's side. Medal of Honor are just like, that game is just the last remnant of their interest in PC VR. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like everything that same with Lone Echo. Lone Echo has been in development for like 84 years. They keep postponing that game because they didn't know what to do with it. And now they already made a Quest port because they know where the market is. So, PC VR, I don't think you have to buy headsets from Facebook to see more titles from them. But who else is there to make anything else? I think you should just, as you said, buy a Rift S, plug it into Steam VR, and maybe some old Oculus titles if there's still something there that is,
But would you really advise anyone to go out and buy a Rift S right now, even if it is 200 quid?
The price has crashed like crazy, and if you wanting to use it as a PC VR headset, it's still
as a dead
cheaper.
platform that's not going to get invested in anymore. I would
Well,
still
doesn't
recommend
You
someone.
can use the Quest 2 to play PC VR as well.
Yeah.
For a bit
I
more
would
money,
just-
yes. But if you're, again, I always like to think of the gamer who's 16 years old, who is scrambling to get the money together, right? You can't get the 300 together. What are you picking up for 200? What are you picking up for 150?
Because the headsets are like, the price completely crashed because of the Quest 2.
Well,
and
exactly,
I see
but
a
that's-
lot of people buying Rift S's now because they want to play PC VR
Yes,
content.
this is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The value in that headset. It's only a year and a bit old.
Would you not recommend them to get the original Quest instead?
No, definitely not. I would definitely go Rift S. If you're going to be primarily going to do PC gaming, do not get the Quest 1 and link it. No.
Well, if it's even
you
cheaper than
either
the Rift
stretch your
S
budget
on
to Quest 2, or you get a Rift S. And
I think
with the
it's-
mind you're going to sell it in a year.
I think it really depends on what's getting sold. If you can buy a Quest 1 for even a cheaper price and still play PC VR content with that, you're like, this is a bargain. I'm just gonna do it.
If you're an indie head like me, then I would agree that the Quest 1 has
I think
staying
everyone
power.
everyone who's hunting right now for a Rift S or a Quest 1 are like, VR enthusiasts anyway, because I don't think other people even know about these devices now. Yeah, we'll see. It's like, it's just so weird to be talking about PC VR this way, because I love PC VR, maybe still even more than the standalone platform, because I played Half-Life Alyx, I played The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, I played all these games. It's like freaking awesome. And when you put on the Valve Index, when you put on the G2, dude, it looks freaking amazing. Like the Quest 2 doesn't even get close to that. But it's just not for the majority of people, sadly.
No.
Well, while we're on the subject of PC VR, we might actually just as well jump to the next topic, which is the new Medal of Honor multiplayer trailer that got dropped this week and is actually releasing next week on the 11th of December. And I'm pretty sure everyone has been itching to get their hands on that one as well. So this week we got some more info in the form of a trailer, and I'm sure that Zim is going to play this in the background right now as well. So it does give a great overview of the different new modes that are being made available. So these are the Mad Bomber, which is kind of like a plan and defuse bomb scenario, a deathmatch, speaks for itself, team deathmatch as well. Then they have something that's called Blast Radius. That's kind of like a King of the Hill mode, I would say. And they also have a Domination, which is more of like a territory hold point kind of a scenario that you need to perform with a team as well. So yeah, what did you guys think about the trailer when you first saw it?
Fucking awesome. It was like
The music was
hyped.
right?
it was like swallowing hot cocoa at Christmas. That's what that trailer was. Because
That was
I saw
beautiful.
Mad Bomber and I'm like, hell yeah, I want to plant explosives and run around and gun. Like it just looks great. It looks like great arcade
I
FPS
love how they
fun.
did the trailer, because we can't show the music, of course, but they did the music like in tune with like the gunshots and the reloading. So if you have some time after this after the show, definitely check out that trailer, because I think it's probably one of the best ones that I've seen using that kind of technique in order to like really match the music with the game as sounds. It's really well done.
I think this is the first time we see a VR shooter from, let's say, a famous IP that was on the same level as Call of Duty and Battlefield 4.
Definitely.
Well, not anymore though. I think that Medal of Honor has really, had some bumps in the road, especially with its last few titles. But the fact that there is now a developer who spent so much time on also multiplayer, that's amazing, because I don't think we have seen that many like AAA multiplayer shooters. I think this is maybe even one of the first.
And this is Respawn as well. This is Respawn Entertainment that made Titanfall. They are like,
They know how to make multiplayer
multiplayer.
games.
They know multiplayer.
Yeah, true.
And that's what gets me very excited. And I like that the trailer was very fast paced. Like it showed a lot of kills, showed a lot of weapon reloading mechanics as well. And I couldn't quite tell if it was like manual, a lot of the weapon reloading stuff, but I really hope
I
it is.
think it is, because I mean it's arcade reloading. I
Okay,
think, though.
simple manual, exactly.
But from what I saw, like the thing is, like, we've played Onward, we've played Pavlov, Contractors, games like that, so we're quite familiar with like modern weapon sets and how to reload those weapons. But what we haven't really tried in VR is like reloading these old World War II guns. And I think that's going to be super interesting because they're quite unique, and especially when you look at like the M1 Garand, like how that weapon works, and like it's like bang, 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 ping, and then just slotting another mag in. I think that's going to be so nice in VR, and that's what got me really excited from the trailer. Definitely.
Oh my god, you said Garand. That is my favorite timepiece weapon. That is amazing.
Yeah.
So again, like this is something that I just see happening all the time. This game is coming to Oculus. This game is also coming to Steam. So you can pick. Well, a lot of people think it's an Oculus exclusive. Oculus did spend money on this, but I think Respawn Entertainment said, like, listen, we do want to make the game, but then we also want to have it on Steam. So that's nice that they kind of have that in the contract. Is it going to be cross-platform?
That's what I was just about to ask. Like, we don't know yet.
Yeah.
We don't know yet.
No, it is. Road to VR
like,
covered
the thing
it.
is, let me not say is it cross. It needs to be cross-platform, because otherwise, if the server
I'll cover the details
low,
now.
then
So,
It's got to be.
it is cross-platform play.
Okay,
There
you
is
go.
not an invite system, however. So there is the ability to set up a match. So let's say Nathan and Mike are on Steam, Rowdy and Zim are on Oculus. We can join and play in the same game. However, I can't invite Mike to the game that Rowdy and I are in, or Nathy. So that there's a barrier in terms of the friend system. This is going to be a problem for matchmaking. So the big question that I have is, when you set up one of their games, and you set up, like, let's say, like I've planned a 6v6. 6v6 is the maximum number of players you get in a game. Will you be able to do, they do have private servers, so you can create a dedicated server, which is great.
Okay.
What they don't appear to have at the moment is like a room code, so that we could give you a room code to get around the whole cross-platform invite issue. So when I open a match, if it's a public match, anyone from Oculus and Steam can fill that. It's also worth noting that they have bots that will be able to fill up to the player if you wanted that or if you preferred that. Most people, of course, want humans. And then the question now is, if I make a private lobby, let's say with the Oculus build of the game, will I be able to get Steam players to join that, or is it now ring-fenced only on the Oculus platform? So that's the only question I think that's outstanding at the moment, and we wait until release day to find out.
Interesting. So something we just said with Population One as well, they have to keep finding new things to keep this going. Especially, it's PCVR, guys. It's not on Quest. It's not standalone. It's going to be a challenge to keep. I feel like this is more, okay, play the single player, and we have a little bit of multiplayer here if you want to try it out. But they have to kind of invest time into this to keep it alive. And if you see the trailer, it has potential. But I don't know, man. I don't know if that's
so.
Because Medal of Honor, like, that's the thing. I don't know what your experience was with Medal of Honor. Like, the first few games were amazing. They were like, they were on the level of Call of Duty, and then Battlefield came. But the last few Medal of Honor games weren't so great. So most people forgot about Medal of Honor. The youngsters do not know what Medal of Honor is or have ever played one. Of course, we old geeks. I don't consider myself that old, but
I was gonna say he's 26 now, lads. But
I do know Medal of Honor. I do know the World War II. Titles. I also played the one in Afghanistan. With what was it?
It was like Tier 1 operators, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called.
And Airborne was also one of my guilty pleasures. Reviews were low on that, but it's like Medal of Honor. Needs to make a comeback in a way too. So it's not like the whole world is waiting for Medal of Honor to drop.
The split is the biggest problem, I think. So you're launching with 5 different multiplayer modes with a PC VR game. Yeah. People are gonna want to dabble in them, but it might really I would have liked to see content updates to kind of feed that out over time and see
that's what I'm worried about a little bit. Like you have these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different modes. Are there different maps as well? Because then you have that will split it again. You have a player base split against.
I counted about 8 different maps at least from the trailer.
8 maps from the trailer.
At least 8.
Wow.
At least 8. Yeah.
But I think
that's what I'm wondering. Like if you're gonna split it, if the player base is already quite thin, it's gonna get hard to get like full player matches on there.
And there is a really good server browser. This is another thing to mention. Sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
So one thing I wanted to mention was that Nathan said, maybe it was Respawn that suggested it was like cross-play, and I think Oculus, they had to make it cross-play because having this on PC VR on the Oculus platform alone, these servers would be dead.
They would never. They would never even consider doing crossplay because they are also in denial that Steam even exists in the first place.
But I think without Steam, this game wouldn't last very long.
But what do you mean by crossplay, Nathan? What do you mean?
Well, it's like
you mean with the friend system? You mean?
No. It's like on both platforms. It's on Steam and Oculus. And Mike is suggesting that Facebook came up with the idea to also bring it to Steam. No.
You can see it in their faces in that recent. You and I have seen it. Absolutely, no way. They aren't happy about that.
No, but
I need that. They need that.
Of course they do. Yeah,
they do need it. They don't like that.
I think because it's really nice to have so much content in a game. But it would be a shame if you have so much, because so much content that you won't have a player base supporting that, right? You go into this game and there's only like, a couple of people playing it. Well, I mean, a lot of people playing it, but they're all spread across different maps and different modes.
I'm really surprised
sure that they thought about that.
You've got such a solid, what looks like a solid single player campaign. You've got the heartfelt underbelly of we're going to tell you what World War II was actually about and all these experiences. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then they also land with like solid multiplayer. Like this game has been in development for 3-4 years,
Yeah.
And it shows like how much polish is there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Want
but
this.
I'm talking about 5 months from now.
I get it.
Everybody's finished the multiplayer.
I get it. But that's why they have the bots.
Thing is multiplayer still.
Then you have the bots.
The game alive.
No, but
I'm very happy that they introduced bots. Like a lot of people say, like, I don't like playing with bots, but I absolutely love it.
But I just don't see that we'll get the content drops like we've seen in Population 1 and the variety.
And you also need to know they are under contract with Oculus, so when the contract is over, they're gonna stop updating it anyway. I think
look how quickly Insomniac abandoned Stormland.
Oh my god,
like,
true.
They dropped it like a stone. But some other things about Medal of Honor, I am still very excited by this game as well. Yeah. Like, if you think we've been negative about it,
can I say one thing? One thing they should consider straight away, even that it hasn't been out yet, that no one has really bought it yet. Split off the single player with the multiplayer and just sell it for a cheaper price. Multiplayer only.
Interesting. Yeah.
Because that would give it a better boost for sure. I think.
I agree with that.
What's the launch price? Do we know?
No, but I've got some specs.
It's got to be heavy. It's got to be heavy.
System specs.
It's not going to be
$19.99. No. I think it's going to be like the same as Marvel Powers United was as it launched.
40?
Like 50 quid. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Totally worth it.
I'm guessing 40.
But yeah, listen to this because I did some digging on the Oculus subreddit and we've got some system specs. So listen to this. So you're going to need an i7 9700K processor, 16 gigabytes of RAM, and an NVIDIA 2080 graphics card to run this game.
Seriously?
Yeah, they also suggest...
Is that minimum?
This is recommended, I think.
Oh, okay.
Not minimum.
I was gonna say,
They also recommend that you should install the game on an SSD, right?
Yeah.
Download size is 160 to 170 gigabytes, and they suggest that you'll need at least double the size to unpack it based on how the game, the Oculus runtime installer works.
That's my entire 500 gig SSD, basically, because I'm so glad I got a new one recently. But this is the same problem I had with two other games. Dirt Rally 2, which is 100 gig, Asgard's Wrath, which is 120. And it's so funny that, like, you don't necessarily have that much SSD space just lying around. Like, if you're a hopping gamer, so you're gonna have to get clearing down. I recommend get clearing down now in advance of the launch. You know.
And this is why I'm saying split it off, because this is going to be another problem where you are playing the multiplayer and after you're like, my computer's completely full, I'm just going to throw it out because it's just filling up. Like the whole single player is making my computer explode. So that's why I'm like, split it off so you can install the multiplayer only and then the single player. Because dude, like if Rocket League was like 170 gigabytes and I had to play it online all the time with that
I don't know
if
because the texture packs will still be the same, right, across those different.
There's definitely content. They would have to take a chainsaw down the middle.
It won't be like 100 gigs though of the total.
No. But still, like, I got a question. Like, is there a game that does that today that sells the single and multiplayer as separates?
I think Cyberpunk is doing that.
Call of Duty does have like Warzone, which they separate for free.
That's true. Yeah.
That's probably
I like the idea.
Like, I usually don't suggest it in the mainstream gaming scene. You don't have to do this, but I'm just saying it's a survival tactic to make the multiplayer, last a little bit longer.
Yeah, like sell the single player for 30, sell the multiplayer for 20. You want the two together, 45, something like that.
Yeah, I just hope that Respawn, because for them the VR scene is also new, that they understand it's not about necessarily pushing more content updates or to get people in. No, it's about dropping the price of the multiplayer game and making sure that it's cross-platform and that you market it in the right way. I think like what we have here is fine, in terms of what you get. The game modes are looking good. The gameplay looks action-packed. So it's really about how do we keep the multiplayer alive for a couple of months. And as I said, Medal of Honor as the IP is not going to do it, sadly. It's not famous enough to keep people playing it.
Yeah. The gaming science teacher said Lone Echo and Echo Arena. They basically did that. So they had the two separates.
I don't know if you guys know, but IGN actually did a preview of the game already. They put that up a couple of days ago. They basically said their sort of preview of the game was that they got to play a couple of missions. I think 3 missions from the main story campaign. They say that the missions unlock the gallery content, so you kind of have to work for the gallery content, which is kind of interesting.
The gallery content's the World War II historic stuff?
Yeah, we're like speaking with veterans and survivors, showing you like the iconic locations from World War II, like the beach and stuff like that. And they actually said that the gallery was that was like the best thing about the game, and that was the thing that really they think will push people to complete the game is the gallery content. They thought it was that good, and they thought that the tone of the gallery content wasn't really matching the tone of the game. They felt like tonally they were very different, but they said that the gallery was still very welcome. They also did mention that they encountered quite a few bugs, and they said they wouldn't normally mention it in a preview, but being so close to release, they're a little bit concerned.
Okay.
But overall, pretty positive, and they said that, you know, after the initial mission, things start getting very exciting quite quickly, and they hope that can continue its momentum throughout the rest of the story campaign.
Nice.
Good.
Interesting.
Nice
No,
summary.
I do want to see more from Respawn. As you said, like Titanfall, like the last Titanfall also didn't sell that well. Maybe in VR it could be, you know, a great game. So yeah, Respawn has a lot of potential.
Another thing I want to mention, and it's about the marketing of this game, is that, and this comes, like, you know, we're kind of in a bubble, right? You know, we kind of take a lot of things for granted.
Yeah.
But both my brother and my dad, because I said to them, like, you know, what games do you want me to gift you for Christmas? You know, like, is there anything you fancy? And my dad and my brother were both like, oh, we really like the look of, like, the Medal of Honor game. But they're both on Quest 2. They don't have a gaming PC. And they'd seen the trailer, clearly, but obviously you only find out at the end. That it's got Rift S and Quest 2 together, the headsets together, and then it says, what does it say? I've written it down here. Compatible PC required, link cable required for Quest, in small writing at the bottom, so you barely notice it. It only pops up for like a few seconds. So I think a lot of gamers maybe that bought Quest 2 might think, oh, I'm looking forward to this game, without realizing necessarily that this is a PC VR game and it's very different. And I think marketing-wise, I think Oculus could definitely do a better job in communicating that.
Yeah, but again, this is one of the last PC VR titles. They kind of have to work through this one because they're in a split with their new system. After this, I don't think we're going to see this that much anymore. But you're right, it's very confusing. But as I said, I think it's like that battle they had at the start when they launched the Rift S and the Quest. They had to kind of
a lot of confusion there.
Yeah,
true.
Talking about high-quality VR games, I actually got two more quick news topics, but they're rather short. Half-Life Alyx has recently surpassed the mark of a minimum of 2 million owners, according to Steam Spy. Now, this, of course, is no reflection of the actual sales, as many people also received it for free with, for example, their Valve Index order. But I think this is nonetheless a quite remarkable feature. And actually, talking about the Valve Index, I also looked at the number of percentage of users using it at the moment. I was actually quite surprised to see that it was more than 15% of Steam VR users actually have a Valve Index, which is quite a large number. But I mean, it still dwarfs when you compare it to the Oculus headsets that are currently on the platform, which
when you
now
consider the
actually
cost.
is
When you consider the price of the
50%.
index, it's high. It's a good number for them, I think.
15% is a high number, and Oculus has now more than 50% of the Steam VR users.
I still think if you are gonna play Half-Life Alyx and you do have the money, then play it on Valve Index.
because
Because it's amazing. With the controllers, it's great. It's really good. My God.
And 2 million owners, that's insane.
That's insane.
Right?
And it's insane that it came out this year.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't feel like that at all.
I keep on forgetting that it came out this year.
Yeah,
it's been such a
March,
weird year. Like, in some ways it feels like it's gone super fast. In other ways it's felt like it's gone super slow. But yeah, I keep forgetting it came out this year.
What was even crazier is that back in March, Half-Life Alyx and Cyberpunk were going to compete with each other. But Cyberpunk, of course, had been delayed. Plus, I think that's what the Cyberpunk dev said. They said, like, we're not concerned because we have a VR game here. And we are making a PC game, so it was interesting to see. That was going to happen, and that's why people are like, "Oh no!" Like Cyberpunk is going to take away, of course, the whole shine, and no one is going to ever know that it even came out. So,
Well, that turned out quite well then.
it was right. It was right before the whole everything went.
But now,
lockdown,
Medal of Honor, Cyberpunk.
Well.
I'm going to play them both.
Definitely Medal of Honor.
Of course.
Anyway.
Who needs to sleep?
The 2 million is great. I'm very glad.
Yeah, 2 million is great.
Someone mentioned to me in yesterday's stream that there's Project 17, the kind of remake Half-Life, this high-quality world you can explore. So I think it's a City 17 creation in the Half-Life Alyx engine, as I understand it. I mean, I haven't checked out any... you guys were big into the mod scene. What was the website for Half-Life 2 mods?
Oh, I can't even remember now.
Maybe Half-Life2mods.com. but like you guys were kind of keen into that, and then there was Sadly But Bradley making his levels and stuff like that. So
But they're all through the Steam Workshop for Alyx anyway.
It's absolutely something I want to go and, like I like giving stuff like 6 months or 9 months and just let people make things that are awesome and then go and check them out. So
and
if
dude,
Chad has any recommendations, please let us know.
Also, like, if you have a B-Haptics vest, I would highly recommend you go play some of that content with a B-Haptics vest. Like, oh my god, like, it's awesome with the vest. Have you got a vest?
Not a B-Haptics vest. No, I don't.
I do have one in Belgium.
I can probably send you one actually, Sim. If you want to borrow one, you can, because spoiler, I've got a couple of new ones, so
Ooh.
I can send you my older one, and then you can try it out.
All right. We're gonna be swapping packages here. This is great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Santa Mike.
Having a great Christmas there.
Definitely.
Santa Mike. But yeah, like from Valve, I just wish, and I know they won't because it's Valve, but I just wish that they would give us a glimmer of hope and just say, like, we're working on another game. It's a VR game. It's going to roughly come out like this time, just so we've got something to pin our hopes and dreams on.
They torture us again. Like, they tortured me with Half-Life Alyx because everything I played afterwards, like, this is just shit. This is shit. This is not even getting close to... they put the bar so high, and before we reach the bar of Half-Life Alyx, we're like 5 years into the PC VR market. So
yeah,
same with Medal of Honor. It's got some big shoes to compete with for sure.
Yeah.
And then the final bit of news that I have is about VR chat. VR chat is actually introducing a new way to so-called support the service, and it's called VR chat Plus. This is a paid subscription option that gives you some extra features for the ones who chose to support them. This is a 1 month subscription that is available for $9.99, while they also have a 1 year subscription that will cost you $99.99, to not say 100. And with that 1 year subscription, you also get 3 months for free then. So what do you get for that? You'll get custom user icons for their nameplates, 100 avatar slots, a support badge, and an increased trust rating. And this apparently means that more of your avatar features will be visible by default. I have no idea what that means.
Yeah.
But, okay.
So like if you have like fancy emotes and like a dancing character or whatever, all that stuff, like depending on your safety level, some of that can get blocked. We saw it when we were playing Among Us in VR chat, and certain character avatars were getting just blocked. You get this kind of default showing.
We should point out that the free version will still be free for everyone. It's just that this is just for people that are like power users.
Support.
Yeah.
And I mean, early supporters will also get a VR cat badge in their profile, so that's kind of neat if you want a cat in your profile. But also for regular users, so the ones who choose not to support them, there are some upgrades coming, with the avatar slots being upgraded to 25 slots, and also nameplates will get an improved look for everyone else.
Okay.
I think it's one of those things, there's some people out there that bought a VR headset purely for VR chat, and they just play VR chat and nothing else. And I think for them to be able to support the platform, this is great. This is great.
I don't think there are many other VR titles that can pull something off like this, because some people spend like 5,000 hours of, like in there, and this is something that is just so valuable.
It's got to be, I mean, like all the platforms, like Rec Room before it as well, you've got to monetize to stay alive. It's really important. So this is one of their first steps doing that. Have there been any in VR chat advertisements yet? That's what I'm always curious about.
They were already making loads of money on this title, even that it was free.
Like so far, I haven't seen in Altspace, Rec Room, VR chat, Horizon, I haven't seen advertisements on billboards or anything like that. Have you guys seen anything like that yet? Because that's got to come, right?
I guess so.
Only Population One promoting their own game inside their game.
On the billboards.
No, not really.
Okay, if you're a historian watching this back in the future, I didn't come up with this idea. It's not my fault that Facebook put ads in everything, okay?
Him.
It's not me.
Travel back in time and get him. Travel back in time and get him.
This is why we do this podcast, so we can put this in concrete in a time capsule and they'll look back at the moment. This is the moment the VR changed. Everyone got ads, sent directly to their eyeballs, and it was all Zim's fault. They have statues and they can just throw things at you in VR.
Shit, tomatoes.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm happy
Right,
that people
great.
can support VR chat anyway. You know, they definitely deserve it. They've been there from the beginning. It's thriving, it's growing platform. And, you know, if the money from these supporters helps grow the platform for everyone else as well, you know, I totally welcome
I
it.
agree
I'm
with
sure there's
that, I
plenty of
agree.
people out there that want to support it.
As long
Like
as it's
it-
optional, I think it's a great thing.
If you live in that game, then if that's the rent, it's so low.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right then, and then I think it's time for our main topic, and that was the, how do I pronounce this now? Is it Varjo or Varjo?
Varjo.
Varjo?
Varjo.
I think it's Varjo.
I'm
Well,
not gonna try.
when I met them at VR Days, they said Varjo. So I
Varjo?
don't know, but
Okay.
maybe in their language it's different, but I don't know.
Good luck, Rowdy.
Okay.
You got to commit to one.
They have announced the launch of its new generation human eye resolution XR and VR headset, which are called the XR-3 and the VR-3. Now, a few of the features that they both have. So they both have the industry highest resolution, according to them, with 115 degrees field of view. They have performance for enhanced levels of realism and visual clarity with a refresh rate of 90 hertz. They have integrated ultra leap hand tracking, improved comfort and usability with 3-point precision fit headband. It's complete software compatibility with Unity, Unreal Engine, OpenXR, and a few hundred others. And then for the XR3, there are a few additional features. So that is the first one, I think is the most important. That is inside-out tracking. And also the industry's first depth awareness with LiDAR and stereo RGB video pass-through to deliver a seamless merging of real and virtual worlds for perfect occlusion and full 3D world reconstruction. Now, I think the first thing we should note about this is not for consumers whatsoever. This is a purely
$30? How much? How much for this?
industry headset. We'll get to the price. We'll get to the price. So what they claim is that this introduces the highest performance mixed reality I've ever seen. So that's for the Varjo XR, with the photorealistic video pass-through, true to life shadows and lights, integrated hand and eye tracking, advanced depth awareness, and inside-out tracking. So the XR3 is available for enterprise purchase for 5,495 USD or euros. And you also need to get a Varjo subscription with that, which starts at $1,495
per year
and euros for a 1-year subscription.
Holy cow! So it's $7,500 for the first year.
Yes, roughly.
I think there was a bundle that was like 3 years, and it was like just under 10 grand.
Well, that's cheap.
Yes,
That's cheap.
for 10 years. For 3 years, it's just under 10 grand.
Yeah.
So wait, they're resuscitating this lady on the table because she heard the price, and they're like, "We got to get her back. We're not going to make money if we don't bring her back to life."
I also looked at the price for the Varjo VR3, so that's the cheaper one. This can be purchased for $3,195 and euros, along with a 1-year subscription as well that starts at $795. So I was kind of wondering, what is this subscription for? Or what does it do? So I looked it up as well. So they say here, to use the Varjo VR3 and XR3 headsets and software, your company needs an accompanying Varjo subscription, which is a continuous license for Varjo software and business services. Through the Varjo subscription, you get access to Varjo's proprietary XR VR software, which continuously unlocks new capabilities for our human eye resolution headsets. You also get access to our premium business support. So what do you get for that? You get continuous XR VR software updates and 3D engine support. You get commercial software licenses. So these are the ones that are needed for the eye tracking and the Ultra Lead Gemini hand tracking. The Varjo account portal, which is their online customer support portal. And also business support. So world-class business and technical support to enable your company's XR VR success.
World class.
One business day response.
I find it difficult. Like, which one is the more expensive one in terms of their design? I can't tell. The one with the vents is the cheap one, yeah? I suppose.
The XR3 is the most expensive one. That is the one that also has inside-out tracking and with the tracking on board. And then you have the VR3, which is the cheaper version, but that doesn't deliver the inside-out tracking, nor does it deliver the depth awareness with the LiDAR sensors.
Well,
yeah, and the thing is, like it sounds expensive to us, but if you're like BMW and you've got one of these to use for your product team to design a car. Like it's cheap in comparison. So I think, we should consider that. But like some of the features of this headset, which I think are amazing, like automatic IPD adjustment, I think that's like fantastic. And also like the display, how the display works. And we've talked about it when we've talked about Varjo before, but basically it's 2 displays like stacked on top of each other. So you have like a 1920 by 1920 pixels per eye peripheral display. And then you have a 2880 by 2720 pixels per eye display as well. And they're kind of like, they lay on top of each other. So one is like a context display. So when you're like looking straight ahead, right in the sweet spot, you got this super crisp view. And the other one is like a peripheral display.
Magnifying glass in a way.
They use something similar here as well. So they call it the Varjo full frame bionic display, which has double the human eye resolution area with over 70 pixels per degree.
It's just insane.
Jesus.
Like the clarity of that display is just going to be insane.
The thing that I'm just wondering when I hear these prices, like even though it's not that expensive for business developers or for companies like BMW and stuff like that, I still wonder how this competes with, for example, Facebook Business Package. Because what is the added value that you get here?
You're not gonna design a product with a Quest 2 or a Rift S.
Yeah, agreed. I think
I don't know
Quest,
about that. I don't know about that.
I don't know.
Sorry,
I think
I'm laughing. There's a product designer out there who's like got a question on his desk, and now a tear is rolling down the cheek.
No. But if you look at Axtel, Pimax, and Varjo, they were all into this business of military, into product design.
I get that, but if you look at what you're getting here, they're commercial software licenses.
It's a lot cheaper for sure, but it's not the same market.
For me, I see like Quest 2 business being used in like VR arcades, mass training, like what we saw with like Best Buy or what was it, Walmart, that picked up a bunch of headsets. Whereas this, I see like where fidelity and clarity are like the utmost priority. So like car design, that sort of thing. I can't even think
medical
of
applications. Medical applications.
Training pilots, medical applications. Like they've shown in their trailers, that kind of thing.
I'm not 100% convinced on that, because I don't think that the incredible high resolution will give you so much more benefit over doing that.
What do you think is the USP then, Rowdy? Like what do you think is their main point of sale?
Well, I indeed think that it's like what you said for like the high fidelity kind of field, but I don't understand how this would compete with something that is maybe a little bit less.
In terms of its enormous price tag, you mean?
Yeah, I don't know if the added value that you get for this, even for a business that has the money to spend that. Well,
I think the answer, for me, and what they're showing in their, just like the HoloLens was showing, it's like if you took it's the world's most advanced like AR pass-through VR combo, right? I mean that's
and
the XR-3. But what is it with the VR3 then?
But but you could say that about anything. You could say that like, I've got like a Fiat Panda outside, and then you've got a Ferrari. Like they're both going to get me to the shops, right? But one is like a super high-end version.
Yeah.
Plus
unless you're. But the thing I'm trying to make, my point here is with the Varjo XR3, I do get it because you get the pass-through. The high resolution.
The stripped-down version. Like, why would anyone buy that?
Right? Why would anyone buy the VR3? Well, what is the added benefit there except for the super high resolution? It doesn't have inside-out tracking. It doesn't have depth tracking. So why is the price tag for that headset $3,195 plus a commercial license for $795 a year? So bringing the total to almost $4,000.
Again, like this is a market we are not so familiar with. So I would again suggest to have them on the show and then explain this, because it's interesting to hear more about they're like completely focused on
like if you look at like their website, they've got like a woman in space. Like they're saying like this is like for astronauts.
Space?
No, I think they're saying it's astronomical budget, right?
And like
bring people back
Kia,
from the dead.
Volvo, like these kind of big market players, that have got big budgets. And the thing is as well, like from these companies, when someone says go to their purchasing department, or we want to try new tech and VR, they're going to say, well, what's the very best thing on the market right now? They're not going to say what's the cheapest.
Super high fidelity.
And they're going to go for something like this, I think.
The only thing I'm wondering, how much higher is this fidelity compared to a consumer headset?
Well, they got examples on
another
the website.
Business headset.
Yeah, they got
other
examples.
business headsets as well.
there's like, if you look at they do a side by side. They don't say what headset it is, but they say like the Varjo compared to like competitor device, and the image clarity is like,
Yeah, I saw that.
it's like night and day. You know, it's like playing a PlayStation 1 to a PlayStation 5. Like the difference is immense. So I think that's the main selling point, I think.
I tried their previous model, and it's very impressive in the sense of, as you said, like the IPD just automatically adjusts to your own, and it's like accurate doing that. It's like, and then suddenly you can play, and it's like, what just happened? Like you don't even realize it. It is like the previous one was super heavy, because with that resolution, with everything that is in there, it's like extremely heavy.
Yeah,
it's like if you drop that, it's gonna be, you're gonna break it. It's also made out of like this high quality material you don't see on any other headsets. It felt like kind of metallic, and the eye tracking is also very, very accurate. And funny is that you can even activate things with your eyes by flipping a switch, or looking into the supermarket, and they could see what I was looking at the most. And the data comes in too, because the platform we were talking about, the subscription, it collects data too. And it's very interesting data for a lot of companies.
There's only one product that they sell.
Yeah.
Oh, and there are cameras, of course. The cameras also can record your eyeballs. Like they showed me my own eyeballs. It was really strange.
There is only one product that they sell that I am interested in, and it is that green screen. My God, that is a beautiful looking green screen that they've got. I want to know what the price is on that. I'll pay it.
The reason why I think it's not a technical kind of thing here that they're selling is because they're not selling a product, they're selling a service contract. And I wouldn't be surprised that they also start doing those kind of, I call it, where you like buy a product, but you buy the service with that. Like basically like they're doing now, but it's like a lease contract.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah. Because the reason for this high price is probably not the headset itself, but it's more likely that it's going to be like just the service that they're providing. And I think that is where the costs come from. Because if a company like, for example, I don't know, like I said, BMW or Volkswagen or whatever buys something for their developers, they're not gonna buy this to set this up themselves. They're getting a full service contract to get it installed, to get the right environment, to get everything taken care of, and to get a 24-hour service on that. Just like they do in any medical kind of field with PET scanners or MR scanners or whatever kind of technology.
But
I think that is.
I think they're also paying for like the amount of research and development. Like these guys have always been pushing the cutting edge, and like I'm sure Facebook are doing the same, but they're obviously not selling those products yet. They're sort of keeping that behind closed doors when the market's ready, like we talked about earlier. But these guys, they're like, they're doing stuff that people haven't really done before, like that kind of LiDAR sensor, mixed reality pass-through. Like, what the heck, dude? Like,
I think also
I think it's amazing, but I think you're wrong in saying that Facebook is not pushing that edge. I think that Facebook has been pushing that edge more than any other company that is out there, especially with Facebook Reality Labs.
They're probably doing it behind the scenes, but what I'm saying is we haven't seen that in even a business-facing headset yet. Whereas these guys are bringing these products to market.
That's because they're offering, like I said, it's because they're offering a service contract. They don't just offer the product; they offer the service that comes with the contract. Explaining the high price for that.
This is exactly where I'm interested for Apple to come in. Come on, next year, 2022, like come in with your offering here, because I want to see that AR/VR. Okay, fair enough, but I'm saying this kind of thing, but done in a sexy package for a consumer at a consumer price. I don't care if it's $15.99, right? Think about that. Like if they could bring a headset that was sleek and chic,
be epic. Yeah.
and it would just change the world. Like that's what I want. That's what Apple should do.
Mobile games.
What?
Yeah.
And only
well, the thing is, if they're going to compete with Oculus, they have to do that. But I would love that too. But for me, like seeing this technology, and I always like seeing this new, super advanced technology because it gives us a glimpse of what the future might hold for us as consumers.
Crush.
I think it's also impressive that they go for inside-out tracking now. Well, the previous one you have to use at least 4 base stations.
This does have base station tracking as well.
It's only for the XR-3. The VR3 is not.
No, you still have to use, but the new one, they're gonna push that as well. Now, I honestly, I think like we're too noob for this subject, so we should invite them over and talk about it because as I said, it's a very interesting market. It's a huge market too. This company is super professional. Like the products they make look slick. It's not they're trying to sell something that doesn't exist. I mean, as I said, I tried the previous thing and that did the trick. So That's what I would suggest.
Was it a pleasure
Yeah,
for the eyes, Nathan?
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure for the eyes. It's just as you said, like the display that was in the middle, you could definitely notice that there was a display in the middle. You know what I mean? But again, I'm looking at it from a gamer's perspective. I'm like, if I would play this game with it, then I have this display in the middle. But then it's like, oh, but if I would create something, there's a product.
So you were just imagining
or...
what like Lucky's tail would look like in that headset.
Well, dude, like it's so heavy. Like you don't want to play games with that for hours, man. It like even the way you were putting it on, if you would like look around, like if you would have to play a shooter, fast-paced one, it would be on the back of your head, man. It would
knock
spin
you
around.
Out.
It would knock you out. Yeah.
Exciting stuff, nevertheless, though.
It is.
All right.
I do like the
I think
design,
that
like the
was-
front, the shiny part where it's like.
I hate that.
fingerprint-
No way. No fingerprint
fingerprints.
magnet. Fuck that.
Yeah.
I hate glossy covers. Like this is why. Like it's one of the things my pet peeves about the index design is that shiny front. I love when people have changed that to matte. I think that is a mistake in any consumer product, really. Okay. Same thing with Chrome. Chrome is just not. It's not pretty after like 30 minutes out of the box. So
a white product is also not the best in some.
Especially if you're bleeding.
Especially if you get blood all over it. If anyone hasn't seen it, my dad did bleed all over his Quest. I missed that out in the story of the intro.
You're not getting out that blood out of the head strap.
You should have seen on like. I'm so glad he got the new grips because the actual like it's all material. It's not coming out. He properly bled into it anyway. At least we know now that how it looks. Someone said a hilarious comment in on the video. They said that I didn't think it was blood. I thought it was lipstick. And I was like think about how much worse that would be. It's like all these kiss marks over it. That'd be amazing. Anyway, Rowdy, you want me to take over and do releases now, eh?
Yeah, I think it's time for releases for this week.
Hey, okay.
Excited about that one.
There's a lot. There's actually quite a bit. So I'm going to talk through them, and we'll show you the pretty stuff. Some things not so pretty. Some things not so pretty. I'm going to show you.
Great.
You guys like buses? Because here's the visual downgrade for Contractors, which is releasing. Yeah. So.
Wait, is this Contractors or Roblox?
Yeah, it does look like Roblox. Now, before I pick on it too much, Contractors VR has been around for a couple of years. It's a great shooter. Was my second behind Firewall for the longest time. For $20, £15, 3rd of December, Contractors VR has finally landed. It was in beta for the longest time. It does have, and this is the thing that I think you would remark the first time you go in it if you're coming off of PC VR, is it really feels like it's been stripped down. The pretty lighting, the kind of dynamic lighting that you got in the PC VR side, you don't have here. But what it does feel like is it feels like a really polished version of like Counter-Strike made for VR. And I know you'll immediately say to me, oh, that's just Pavlov. The Contractors has a kind of different feel to it. The weapons feel great and all that kind of thing. The other thing that I found really surprising in this build, which surprised me, I don't know if it's there in the PC version, is that there is like there's like a single player, I don't want to say campaign mode, but it's a single player mode where you're playing challenges against bots. Like and you have to play kind of like you would in multiplayer, but with bots taking on things. I don't know how long that is, but that's something.
3 missions.
Yeah, that's.
What do you have with bots, by the way? Like, there's something you and bots.
Me and
like
bots?
they're your best friends.
They're not my best friends.
No?
I think.
He's like Austin Powers. He loves the fembots.
I do love the fembots. Yeah, you gotta say yes to the fembots. But like, I think their weapon design is really great. If you come from PCVR, you'll notice like they've turned everything into like a flat icon in the menus. It's no longer a pretty 3D model. It's a flat icon that you're looking for the gun. But then when you've got the gun in your hands, it feels great. It plays great.
Is this the best they can do in terms of textures and graphics? Because I don't know.
The thing that I think, this is where I asked myself that question. I played it for an hour today, and I played the beta some months ago as well. They've actually made it look less pretty than the beta that I played. And I think they've done that for Quest compatibility. In other words, the Quest is meant to run very well with Contractors. Quest 1. So Quest 2 doesn't appear to have, at this time, a kind of a bump in terms of its graphical fidelity. It just seems to just kind of get on as it is. The other thing that's important is crossplay. This game has filled servers. Like a lot of people were saying, hallelujah, because now the Contractor servers, which were previously sometimes a bit waning, like you'd get 1 or 2 European servers in the middle of the day. Now there were like 25 servers all full. when I played earlier. Now, it's only just landed this week, so of course it's going to be chock-a-block. But I find that to be very interesting. So there's a co-op mode as well. As I said, for that kind of weird single-player campaign, if you want to call it that. But all in all, I think that Contractors is a really, it's a good price point. It's a really fun game. It plays very well. If you're expecting it to look very pretty, it doesn't. But I think that once you're into the game, the action, it's fine.
There's a couple of things that I really like about Contractors. Is first of all, they have great gun stock support. I'm sure that they'll integrate that for the Quest as well. But they have actually one of the best gun support kind of things in there that I've seen in any kind of shooter, because you can align each gun specifically to the stock that you have built.
Oh, good point.
And second, which I really like as well, and you don't see that in Population 1, and you also won't see that in Medal of Honor, is that you actually use a proper scope. And not that scope face thing that they've been using in Population 1 or Medal of Honor, where as soon as you bring the scope to your eye, it blackens out everything around there. They don't do that on Contractors, on the Quest at least, or they don't do that on the PC version for sure, but I also saw that they didn't do that on the Quest version.
They don't. It's proper scopes. Those are great points.
Should I also say that this game is from a Chinese developer? Now, of course, we have this kind of idea that a lot of the VR titles from China are not so good, but this is stellar title. And when I went to China, everyone was like, Contractors. It's like they're very proud of this dev studio. So it shows that there is hope.
Yeah, like for me, like I jumped in and played it, and I think for me, like I thought the weapons looked great. I think the textures and the model weapons, they look great, even on Quest. And weapon handling does feel really nice. It's always been one of the major pluses of Contractors. But I do the textures on some of the environments were really, really rough. Some of the worst I've seen in Quest, in fact. And the single player and co-op missions, there were 3 missions and they were the same on both.
So you're saying they rushed it for the holiday season?
I don't know if they rushed it. Maybe this is like the best they can do right now, and then there'll be improvement updates, because you got to remember, you got to give them some credit. Like Onward had the same issue when that launched, with downgraded textures and stuff, although I do think it looks worse in Contractors, but the gameplay is fun, and I think that's the biggest point to remember here. So just bear that in mind.
So okay, wait. So okay, I'm a Quest player. I like shooters, just shooters, and then let's just keep it on shooters. So we have Pavlov, we have Contractors, we have Onward. So Onward is the one that is a simulation
Milsim.
warfare thing, very serious. So 2 shots and you're dead, and you don't know where it came from. Then we have Contractors. Is Contractors in the middle?
It's in the middle.
In the middle.
So it's kind of realistic, but also an arcadey shooter. So it's kind of having both.
It's like Rainbow Six, I would say.
Rainbow Six.
Good call.
And with more like game modes wise, is it different than Onward in the sense of?
You have gun game. You have team deathmatch. You have
so it's a bit more playful.
Yeah,
it's not as anything as like brutal as Onward is. Like you say, it's more casual, more fun. Yeah.
And then you have Pavlov, although Pavlov is not on the official Quest store, so maybe I should not even count it right now. But and Contractors versus Pavlov in that sense.
Again, it's kind of like potato. Some people prefer one over the other, and it's really difficult.
But one is on the official store and one is on side quest.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
They're very different games, all 3 of them, depending on what you like.
So it's good to have some shooters on the store, because I remember us again, like going back, it didn't age well. Us complaining about getting some freaking shooters on the Quest 1. So it's nice.
Yeah, Contractors is solid.
Yeah, I think the great thing is there's just so much for an FPS player who just got a Quest. It's like for Christmas. Think about that 16-year-old again who's like an FPS fan, never been in VR before, and then there's this like plethora of games, because you can throw in Pop 1, Solaris. There's like 4 or 5 games that are just really solid for you to get.
But it's good that there's still different genres, because if they bombard us with like the same kind of style, the same as we just said with Pavlov, and then it's like, which one? But with Onward, it's still like good for everyone who likes shooters.
Exactly. Now, a bit of comedic relief before I move on to my next point. So I was saying, for Contractors, if you're in the mood for hiring some overpriced labor to help you with your business goals, and ignore those people who've worked for you for 10 to 20 years, earning their keep by putting up with your daily bullshit, then you need Contractors. They're going to leave a mess around your house, turn up late, and forget to turn in their time slips. But we have an American solution to this problem: guns. Lots of guns. So anyway, that was my quick intro for contractors, for those who might want to consider buying the game. All right. Next, and this is Rowdy's favorite game ever, Prison Boss. So Prison Boss on Quest from Trebuchet. So you can roll cigarettes. This game,
He's leaving. He's like, "Fuck this, I'm out." He cannot deal with his past. It's hurting too much. The flashbacks of him rolling the cigarettes in VR, trying to get out.
He's still gone.
Trying to sell hooker in prison.
So the beauty that is Prison Boss, right? $20. £15. This seems to be the magic price point now for VR games of this caliber. But yeah, this is a different game to probably what I thought it was going to be. It scales to your room now on Quest, which is pretty cool. But this is for tycoon game fans. Okay, so you have to craft things like cigarettes, flip bottles, cook cakes, and all this kind of stuff. The boss is back, and hiding your contraband and all this kind of stuff. So Prison Boss is an interesting kind of mix between like this tycoon sim game and something like Job Simulator, for example. But I think that the touch of I don't know if, Rowdy, you caught that when I was saying it, but the game will actually now expand your room space. So, you're trying to do the tycoon simulation. You're trying to beat the guards and all that kind of thing. You can customize your cell. It adapts now size to your room space. Seems pretty neat, but I'm really curious as someone who hasn't.
It's a great game. It is a great game.
Like, who is this for? Like, in your opinion, because it seems so unique compared to other game designs. I've never played it.
It's for a very young audience, but it is fun to try it out. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's a fun game. The mechanics are nicely integrated. There's a good amount of variety. There's a good deal of variety in the prisons as well. It's a unique concept. It has a little bit of a thrill that you have, when the guard is passing by and you hope that everything is stored away properly. It's a decent game.
Okay, wait. So I'm 4 years old. I just bought a Quest 2. This is the first game I need to play.
No.
Oh, okay.
So I think the biggest question here is, like, is this your comeback moment, Rowdy? Yeah. Like, is this the game?
I'm gonna get up again. I'm gonna get out. And like, people keep on asking me to play this game.
Rowdy, you are Prison Boss.
I've played it every level. I've done everything that there is to do.
But have you done it on the Quest though?
Yeah.
It's wireless, Rowdy. No cables, Rowdy.
No.
Totally
This is your moment to shine.
You've never experienced
This is what people want.
Well, as
I'll
Sim
leave
said,
it all
there's
to
a new
you, Mike.
feature.
Like Rowdy is the prison boss.
Yes.
He is the game.
Absolutely.
He is the
That's true.
marketing.
Just think about that when you're playing this game.
Like, without you, Trebuchet, I'm sorry, but you're gonna fail.
This title was based on Rowdy's life. It's
All right, let's save Rowdy with an amazing, in air quotes, PSVR deal for only $110. So, the PSVR release that you didn't expect, but is here for you. Okay.
wait, Prison Boss bundle?
Not a Prison Boss bundle. It's the Star Wars bundle. So the EA Star Wars triple bundle landed on the 3rd of December. It is 120 gigabytes in size, so that's the same size as Asgard's Wrath, but you get 3 games for the size of one. It's £80 sterling, and as I said, $110, not cheap. And just bearing in mind that the last proper game on PSVR to land, and I say that wasn't a re-release, wasn't a platform change, wasn't like that, was the 2nd of October when Squadrons landed. So Squadrons is a part of the bundle, and there are 2 other VR games, Battlegrounds, and I didn't actually write down the 3rd one, so I missed that in my notes, and that's silly. So for 110, you get 2 and a mystery one. There's the 3rd game.
Battlegrounds what?
So you have Battlegrounds, Squadrons, and one other. But
you said EA Star Wars bundle.
EA Star Wars triple bundle.
So what is Battlegrounds? I'm kind of like, my brain is freezing at the moment. You're saying Battlegrounds, but I don't really know what that means.
Maybe I'm mixing up
you mean
my
Star Wars Battlefront.
Battlefront. Sorry, not Battlegrounds.
I was like, Battlegrounds sounds like that.
We've been talking about Battle Royale, so it's in my head. That's why. Yeah, it's PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
Star Wars about that, man. So does that mean that you get the X-wing mission with that as well, or was that like something you had to buy? No, it's like
it didn't actually specify in the pack, and
so
this is why I find the pack
1
annoying.
or 2, Zim?
Two.
I mean, two. Okay,
Yeah,
then
2
it's
is
not the
included.
X-wing mission because that was in the first one, I think.
Pain.
Okay.
Yeah, I mentioned this more as a caveat.
One pancake title and one mystery title. It could be one of the two.
That's it. Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, it wasn't mystery title, but I just forgot to write it down.
Well, there aren't any other, as far as I know, Star Wars. Well, there is Vader Immortal. It could be Vader Immortal.
Okay. No, I'm looking at this now. So the EA Star Wars triple bundle, it contains Star Wars Squadrons, Star Wars Jedi, and Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Jedi.
Yeah, well, the Jedi one is Pancake, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And so is Battlefront 2, really. It's got
a VR mission, though.
No, that's the first one. It's
that was the first one.
See, this is
No,
the
you're
thing.
right.
Like, this bundle is bloody useless.
confusing.
Yeah,
Well, it's just useless. Why would you advertise that bundle in their VR section?
Because Star Wars Squadrons is also a pancake game. Just saying. So that's why.
Well, I know that, but like in the VR section, it's going to cause some confusion. Someone's going to lay down that money, and I want them not to. I really want them not to.
Squadrons is good, but
Squadrons is good.
This was a good introduction to this bundle, I gotta say.
It was a horrible introduction to this bundle, and that's fine. I clearly forgot to copy from my other file. It's fine.
Star Wars
That's why we're
Battlegrounds
here.
now coming to
got each other's back. Got each other's six.
Thank you, Mike.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Other thing I wanted to mention. This is the main point I wanted to mention. So aside from this ridiculously overpriced bundle, the European hub. I'd mentioned before some website changes that have happened to the PlayStation website. Turned on the old PS4 today. Went to the EU menu. They've actually changed where PSVR games are listed. It is now buried deeper. You might have noticed this, Mike, and I saw you were covering some of your PS5 stuff. But you have to bury into games available for the PlayStation and then get to PSVR. It's no longer a main menu feature, which shows that they're kind of pushing it down and again hiding it, which I find a little bit difficult to swallow. Now, this is for the European store I'm talking, because I am aware that the regional stores are treated and handled a little bit differently. So yours, if you're in the US or North America, you might find that be a little bit different. So again, I find it very interesting. It has been a pretty barren 2 months in terms of stuff coming out. That said, I do have another PlayStation title to mention in a moment. Let's move on to the title that I am probably most excited for, aside from Medal of Honor, but that's coming to Quest. Okay, so the
Temple
most
of Pisa?
excitable.
3?
Not
I
to
know what it
PC.
is. Can I guess?
You can guess?
Missed.
Mist from Cyan, who, if you haven't played Oblivion, I've got the wrong Abduction, sorry, I'm screwing up my references now, and Firmament is another VR game.
Skyrim, basically.
I have, clearly Skyrim got to me. So they've also got in the works Firmament, which is another kind of like follow-up to Abduction.
Oh, yeah, Firmament, yeah.
Which I can't. I'm just so waiting for both of those. Mist, for anyone who was born like in the new millennium or whatever, this is an old ass game. Okay,
You basically had Mist and then Encarta on CD right next to it.
Encarta,
That's basically
Jesus.
was your CD-ROM
I
collection.
rented that game from the Videotheek in Belgium.
Wait,
Amazing.
what? Really?
Oh my god.
This was when games were on DVDs, Nathy.
So
So no
they're-
CDs, sorry.
Rent
before them.
them from
So
the
the
library.
Laserdisc games.
Laserdisc games.
Laserdisc. So now
Wait,
they're returning
what?
to the island, right? We got to go back to the island, and so there's this island, this iconic island of Mist,
hell is this
and
about?
it is a puzzle. It's the Dark Souls of puzzle games, basically.
Okay.
Mist is this island. So you have like no handshake in this game. You walk in and it's like puzzles and you have to figure them out. It's like you were just dropped on the island. It's amazing. Starkly beautiful island, tinged with mystery and shrouded in intrigue. New art, new sound interactions and all that. Optional puzzle randomization. This is a very highly anticipated release. For anyone who missed the original Mist,
See what you did there.
Okay, so you guys are hyped about an island full of hardcore puzzles.
I hated the original game.
And
I played it for once, and I couldn't figure. I was probably too young
it's
as
so
well.
hard. It's so hard.
It was so hard. I couldn't figure
So
out
hard.
anything to do. I returned it the next day to the library.
But I love these kinds of games. Like I'm so glad that a hardcore puzzle
I get
game
it, yeah.
is coming, and it's one of those things where you feel transported. It's almost like fantasy in the puzzle genre. But Abduction is the closest thing that I can call to it. It's their other game that's landed a few years ago now. I think it's 2017 or 2016. That game, and it's long and it's beautiful and it's got VR support. but the puzzles are insane. I will tell you one puzzle, right? There was a puzzle where you had to there was like an old school rotary phone. You had to know how rotary phones worked, and you had to get this code from a 15-minute walk away in a hidden little compartment, and then take that code and plug it in to that phone to make an elevator work. It was like, that's the level of puzzle that this is. It is going to destroy you.
Is it a little bit like that level of puzzles where in Solid Snake you have to take down that one and it's like you have to do something with the controls?
I don't think
have
I
to
ever
plug
played
something
that.
out.
This is way worse.
It's way worse.
Yeah.
Wow. But if you are not familiar with Myst, also great to play, or do you really need to have played to appreciate it more?
I think you just need to know that it's going to be a bit brutal going in.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
this isn't like the room.
Wash your hands.
Well, no one told
You know.
me. Like Zim is the first one who's telling me like it's a hard.
Well, we
I
don't
was
know
like,
actually. Maybe they adapted it now for like the younger audience or whatever. I don't know.
This is where
don't think
I'm actually
so.
concerned. Like, I hope that some of the brutality in the original game, I know we're talking about a puzzle game, I hope some of the puzzle brutality is still there, but I hope the immersive factor of the island, like fog and hopefully the mist, right, is like presented
it was
well
cutting
and
edge back in the day. Like, you know, it was one of the best looking games.
They also,
Oh, it was
they-
gorgeous. It was
released, yeah.
absolutely gorgeous.
They mixed actual actors with game design. right?
Abduction? Yeah, Abduction had
No,
those kind of
the
flat.
original Myst.
I don't know.
So you think it was
thought
like
that
full
was the
motion
case.
video? I don't know.
I think
is
that was,
there-
I didn't
is-
think you interacted with any characters in the original Myst.
But is there any Myst in this game or not? Because
This is exactly what I was saying, because
why
like the
is it
smoke,
called Myst?
the
Why is
smoke
it
and
called Myst?
contractors, right? This is the smoke grenades and contractors. Just to go back for a moment, like drops, you see little puffs of 2D smoke, and then all of a sudden your screen is filled in
screens.
gray. Like,
Oh, yeah.
so I hope their Myst is better than contractors' Myst.
I love Nathy's like future review of Myst. Game had no Myst. 0 out of 10.
Well, talking about puzzlers, before the year is over, Mike, you still need to play Xing: The Land Beyond.
Oh, stop, PDs, please. Can we just
He
fire
didn't-
him
wait,
as a
wait,
as
he
a
didn't tell
moderator
me.
We can
now?
talk about me playing Prison Boss, but we can't talk about Mike playing
but
Xing: The Land
listen,
Beyond.
listen. PD has been, he didn't even tell.
I didn't
tell us in
build
the
my
chat. I just
reputation
hear him.
playing Zing Rowdy.
just hear-
That is one thing to
That's
do.
because it's weighted.
Yeah,
That's how you're going to get
maybe
successful,
5
Mike.
videos.
Like PD wasn't even saying it in the chat here on stream.
He was
I can
feeding
just
you, I
hear
know
it
he
in
was.
my mind that he's saying it again. It's weird.
Wow.
Well, there you go.
I'm just worried that Mike's going to pivot to something Patrick Stewart, but we're going to move on swiftly. So he knows exactly what I'm talking about there. So you've already seen it. I'll show it to you again. We talked already at length about this game, but on the 11th of December, Medal of Honor Above and Beyond is coming. So although we talked about the multiplayer in a very rich way, I got to tell you about the narrative campaign that you're going to play. So you're going to be in the boots of an agent of the Office of Strategic Services, the OSS, in a war-torn Europe. This is a World War II game, before you get any ideas. This is a deep single-player campaign bursting with authentic detail that takes you through historic events on land, air, and sea, sabotaging Nazi bases, subverting enemy plans, and aiding the French resistance, and partaking in the biggest moments of the war. You'll need more than a good aim to succeed on your mission. Use anything in the world as cover. Throw back enemy grenades, like they keep showing to us as like some kind of comedic relief in their trailers. Swim from sinking ships. Any ship I board in that game, I'm going to be nervous. And dive out of burning airplanes. Man, just stop taking vehicles. Just use your feet. You'll have to stay on your toes if you want to make it out alive. You're not watching history. You're experiencing it like never before.
It's like all these moments you describe is classic Medal of Honor. Escape a ship that is sinking.
Yeah.
Also control a tank. Sit in this bomber that is gonna explode.
big
You
set
have to jump
pieces, yeah.
out and that's great. Do you need to speak French and German for this too? Is there any voice?
Any requirements?
You have to speak actually at least 6
Papier, bitte?
languages. Yeah, 6 languages are a minimum.
my Leben? No, that's
Mein
what is
Leben?
that? Wolfenstein.
That's
Yeah.
Wolfenstein.
I got to stop talking German that I don't know. You could be having me saying anything.
Well,
Anyway.
you have been like playing Frostpoint in German all week, so you should know German very well, my friend.
Oh, for those who don't know, Frostpoint released, as we mentioned last time, and it had a launch day bug where the menus were presented in German, and if you tried to switch them to English, they would then be a mixture of German and Japanese. Makes it even more.
Sehr gut.
Wow.
They're good, very good. Two mentions for you before we wrap up for the old releases. Solaris is back. Thank God. I'm so happy because I have been smitten with Solaris since early on. Really fast-paced combat, and I'm talking like 5-minute matches, so it really gets under your skin. From the creators of Firewall, Zero Hour, one of the literally my favorite FPS until 2020, is Solaris Off-World Combat. So this is very much a kind of a very fast-paced, team-based 4v4 game. It's free-for-all. Really cool set of kind of weapons and really fast-paced. But what they've added is squads. Finally. Feckin' finally. And on their roadmap, if you want to think about it that way, they first launched for Quest and for PC. So you could play this, for instance, on Rift or Quest, and it runs great on both platforms. But what they had at the beginning, because they were coming from, obviously, this pedigree of PlayStation, they were building with like the PlayStation aim controller in mind, because they were going to inevitably release this game for PlayStation. And all the Rift users and Quest users were like, why the hell is my hand stuck to my gun? This doesn't make any sense. I don't have free motion. So now they've freed your hand.
Sony owns the studio, right?
I don't know that. I don't know that that's true. I don't think so. I think they're independent.
Or are they... Okay.
If Sony owned the studio, would they be putting out content for Quest? I doubt
That's
it.
True.
So yeah.
That's a good one.
We're each teaching each other things here today. So,
wow. Oh.
Testing each other.
Yeah, that's it. This is like
but that makes sense though.
It does. So the freehand thing is cool now. It has no effect, so you can freehand with one gun. Doesn't affect your aim ability. You can now optionally clasp back onto the gun, and it kind of has a bit of a stick to it, and then you pull it out far enough and it'll snap away again or whatever. But the freehand is nice. I have to say that it, unlike feeling like I do in the Persistence, I don't feel like held to a point. I feel like those are actually my hands now. The other thing that's neat and very much in the shadow of Population 1 now, obviously Solaris launched. I think it was a bit of a challenging launch because they didn't have squads. Pop 1 lands, stole all the air out of their sails. Now they actually have a skin that you can win by putting enough experience in. From my take, it probably would have taken me 3 hours of play to unlock this cool like purple body skin, and you get that just by playing the game. It's not a paid feature.
No, so no snowflakes. Well, that's
no snowflakes. Strangely, they should really patch those in next to just make
God.
Can you imagine? So that's two of the things. The squad, I have to say, the squad edition feels a bit shoehorned in, and I'll explain why. Say I'm in Quest, and I say, I want to go to the squads tab. When you go to the squads tab, it like alt tabs you. I've never seen this done in a Quest title, by the way. It kind of alt tabs you to the Oculus menu, where I can select to invite Nathie or Mike or Rowdy, and then you have to click a button to go back to the game. So like the main application, you've kind of stepped back from it to like the shell, where you can invite people, and then you go back and it'll add you to the squad. It all looks nice in the game menu, but I found that detail bizarre when I was playing this afternoon.
It's not really the standard, let's say it like that, because I don't think any other titles that really do that.
I've not seen it, so
it's a normal procedure. It could work, but it's not the normal procedure.
It feels like what it probably is that they've rushed to put this together to make sure it functions and get the functional thing out. Like, get it out, right? And so they've hooked into, obviously, Oculus's friending system, and you're able to invite. And as far as I could tell, that was working. The thing that I will say, in contrast to Contractors, which had full lobbies and, as I said earlier, 20-odd plays, for European, this is from a European perspective, because I am aware that it is more full at other times. It took me 25 minutes, around about noon in the UK, to get 8 people together to kick a match off. Now, I had loads of fun, but everyone else was saying the same thing. They're like, it took me 15, 20 minutes just to get in to a match.
So you're saying
that hurts.
So you're saying that there are not enough Europeans playing together
right now.
You have to play it very late in the evening if you're in Europe to be able to play with the Americans, and then maybe find a match.
And that if you want an instant match, right? If you don't want to be waiting. So
I don't want to wait
just right
25
now.
minutes, Zim. Come on, like that's like.
But this is just now, right? They just landed this patch. It hasn't really echoed off the walls. A lot of people don't know that this feature has come. So some of the people in my audience were saying it would be good if they did some events, like got the air into the sails a bit. And I really think that that's important. I think they need to push this again. I'm going to support it because I think Solaris is a fantastic game. If you're a Quake or a UT person, this is the game for you. It is like right into the veins, adrenaline shot. And I think that there is a new map as well. I didn't get to play that. There's a new map. Slight change on one of the original existing maps, so it's not like brand new, I don't think. But it's an update to Solaris, so...
Yeah, and I think I totally agree with you. Like it stands on its own as like a really solid online first-person shooter. I really do think that not releasing squads and maybe delaying the game and releasing it as a full package has hurt their momentum. And hopefully, like you said, with some marketing, some events, some community stuff, they can bring that back.
They have to.
But so this is what I was saying about their pipeline. So think about it this way, and someone said it to me as well. They're like, "Oh, well, they clearly why did they launch without without this feature?"
Yeah.
Think about it in the two paths, right? Like with the hindsight of 2020, I think they made the right choice. Think about it this way: Population 1 lands, and then Solaris comes out. How many people bought Solaris versus Solaris comes out without the squatting feature? Goes kind of under the submarines for a little bit because Pop 1 is shielding it, and then later they do an update. I actually think that given the PlayStation release is still ahead of them, sometime next year, I think they did the right release order, although it's painful for those of us who really wanted to play with friends. They would not have sold as many copies.
So
right?
you think they already knew that Population 1 was going to be a big hype, and that they were kind of...
I don't know. My
because
thing
that's
is
the
that
thing. Like no one that's the thing. A lot of people didn't predict Population 1 to be that popular because it was just a battle royale game coming out so late.
Yeah,
I think
we didn't
like I
predict
said
it was gonna be
originally.
that big.
Yeah, I thought the reason that they launched early was they were taking cash bag from Oculus/Facebook, and they're saying we're going to run for 2 or 3 months and get the game perfect for our PlayStation people because that's where our bread and butter is paid. So we're getting paid on this side. We're going to basically beta it in public domain and for money with people, see how well it does, and then we'll just patch in the features and get it out on PlayStation. And I think it's the right mechanism. I think First Contact have done the right thing. It just
I think Mr. Trinidad in chat made a really good point, and that was that Population 1 was in beta for months and months and months and months and months behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes, they've been that for 2 years. It was playable for 2 years.
It already had a community. Well,
Whereas it seems like Solaris opened with a beta pretty much.
Exactly, they did.
And you also need to know, like, after Population 1, then Onward came out. Now Contractors is out, so there's also they're surrounded now by all these other shooters. I don't know. As you said, they need to do some strong marketing to get this game up and running because it's not. I don't hear this game echo in the hallways when people talk about let's play a multiplayer together. Well, it's standing on it's very unique in the way it looks and how it plays. It's like Quake in VR, something that the others don't offer. It's fast paced, it's quick, but I don't know. And also, we should also not forget that the studio who makes this is very experienced compared to big bucks, compared to any of the other studios. Because Firewall Zero Hour, they were geniuses in keeping the community playing that game all the time. So
and their DLC was good. Like that DLC that they landed was really solid. So if anything, First Contact paved the way, and obviously big bucks have learned from it. So, but last thing I'm going to say about this, unless Rowdy, did you have something there you wanted?
That's what they need to add.
I agree.
Okay. Good. Last thing I was going to say, just another shout for those who, at the beginning of the show, we talked about the accident my father had, broke his finger open. So I thought I'd just give a quick mention here. Racket NX, also for the holidays, if you're looking to play with somebody, they have a co-op update that came about 2 weeks ago. And one other thing, just to mention, if you were trying to get in touch with the developers, they tried to update their Twitter account, which used to be _Hamza. One Hamza is the team who create Racket NX, and accidentally got it blocked. So they're currently fighting with that to get their account unblocked. But if you saw them disappear off the web oddly and you were trying to tweet them or whatever, well, that's why. So hopefully they'll be back soon. That was Racket NX. So that was our...
I've got a couple of updates as well, if that's all right.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
So the first update is about German Rifter. I mentioned him on last week's podcast because he had been admitted to hospital. He's like a champion of the VR community. He's always bigging up the VR content creators and spreading the VR love. So I gave him a little shout out because he was on a ventilator and he wasn't doing particularly well. There has been an update. He's doing better now. He's off the ventilator now and recovering nicely. So we want to wish you the best of luck with your recovery. So that's a little shout out to him. Yeah. And the second thing I wanted to mention was that there is a Ready Player 2 Q&A event in big screen later on today. It's at 5 p.m. Pacific time, which is 1 a.m. tomorrow morning in UK time. Oh, so I think that's 2 a.m. for Nathy in Europe, which is going to be pretty early or pretty late, whichever way, to meet Eric Klein, the famous author of Ready Player 1 and Ready Player 2. Of course, it's Ernest Klein. He's going to be hosted by Darshan, who was on the show previously, to talk about the book. So if you're interested in Ready Player 2, go check that out.
Yeah. That's nice to kind of be half asleep, sleeping in your bed with your headset on. You're like, let's just listen to the interview while you're just trying to catch him sleep.
Well, now that Rowdy's finished the book, maybe he can go out in there and fire some hard questions at him.
That's it. So I'll just recap. I was just going to recap so people can remember what we had. Contractors, Prison Boss, Rowdy, the EA Star Wars Triple Bundle, Myst, and of course Medal of Honor. That was it.
It's a very
Medal of Honor hype.
I know. I'm so keen for that game. I really am. The Medal of Honor Allied Assault was such a great game when I played it. Used to play it on LAN, so that's what I want to get back to now.
But still, for December, this is a very strange combination of titles coming out. This is these are the bangers. I'm
happy though. I'm happy.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy.
Goodbye, 2020. Goodbye.
All right. Then that was it for the show, I guess. We talked about, Prison Boss, Medal of Honor. We talked about the new Varjo VR headsets and a bunch of more stuff. But just to quickly summarize, we go live every Saturday at 6 p.m. in the UK, 7 p.m. in Europe, and 12 noon in Central US. Also, we're on Spotify, iTunes, and all of the other popular podcast platforms. Be sure to leave a like. Thank you all so much for joining, and I hope to see you all next week. But until then, bye for now.
See ya.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.